How to Think Like a Millionaire and Build Wealth. Introduction. This is not a book about lottery tickets or magical thinking. It is a book built on a simple, powerful truth. Wealthy people think differently, and you can learn to think like them. Forget the complicated financial jargon, the intimidating charts, and the get-rich-quick schemes that promise the world and deliver nothing. We are going to strip away the noise and focus on the core mindsets, the foundational beliefs, and the practical, repeatable habits that build real, lasting wealth. This is your straightforward guide to fundamentally changing your relationship with money, not just for a year, but for a lifetime. It is your instruction manual for building your own version of a rich and meaningful life, starting from the inside out. Before we begin, I want to ask you a question, and I'd love for you to pause and share your honest answer in the comments below. What is the very first thing you would do with an extra $1,000 if it appeared in your bank account right now? There are no wrong answers, just be honest. Now let's begin. Chapter 1. The Foundation. Your Millionaire Mindset. Everything you see around you, the chair you are sitting on, the device you are using, the building you are in, it all started as a single thought in someone's mind. Before a single dollar can be earned, saved, or invested, it must first be conceived of as a possibility within your own consciousness. This is the most overlooked and yet the most critical secret to building wealth. It all starts in your head. Your financial reality today, right now, is not a product of your job, your boss, or the economy. It is a direct mirror reflection of your deepest, most ingrained beliefs about money. We call this your financial mindset. For the vast majority of people, this mindset operates on a program of scarcity. For the self-made wealthy, it operates on a program of abundance. Understanding the profound difference between these two operating systems is the first giant leap toward a new financial destiny. This isn't just positive thinking. This is the fundamental architecture of wealth creation. Let's talk about the scarcity mindset, because it is the default setting for most of the world. A scarcity mindset is a deep-seated belief that there is not enough to go around. Not enough money, not enough opportunity, not enough time, not enough good luck. It's a zero-sum game. If someone else gets a bigger slice of the pie, it means there is less pie for you. This belief system colors every single decision you make, especially when it comes to money. When you operate from scarcity, you see life through a lens of limitations, risks, and obstacles. Your primary emotional driver is fear. Fear of losing your job, fear of a big unexpected bill, fear of not having enough for retirement, fear of making a bad investment. This fear keeps you playing defense. You are so focused on not losing the game that you forget to even try to win. What does this look like in daily life? It's the person who spends hours driving across town to save $5 on groceries, but never spends 1 hour learning a new skill that could increase their income by thousands of dollars a year. The time is spent saving pennies, not earning pounds. It's the employee who sees a coworker get a promotion and immediately feels envy and resentment, thinking, that should have been me, instead of thinking, that's fantastic. What did they do to earn that? And how can I learn from it to create my own opportunity? It's the aspiring entrepreneur who has a brilliant idea but never starts because their mind is flooded with 100 reasons why it could fail. The market is too crowded. I don't have enough capital. What if no one buys it? The focus is entirely on the obstacles. A person with a scarcity mindset says, I can't afford it. And that statement is a dead end. It shuts the brain down. It is a period at the end of a sentence. There is no problem to solve because the conclusion has already been reached. This mindset also hoards information and sees others in the same field as competitors to be guarded against, not collaborators to learn from. It is a small, constricted, and stressful way to live, and it is an impossible environment for wealth to grow. You cannot attract and build wealth from a place of fear and lack. It's like trying to grow a beautiful garden in a dark, cold basement with no water. It simply defies the laws of nature. Now let's contrast this with the abundance mindset. The abundance mindset is the core belief that there is more than enough to go around. There is ample opportunity, endless creativity, and that value can be created out of thin air. It's an infinite game. Someone else's success does not diminish your own. In fact, it can often inspire and create new opportunities for you. When you operate from abundance, you see life through a lens of possibilities, growth, and opportunities. Your primary emotional driver is purpose and passion, not fear. You are playing offense. You are focused on winning the game, knowing that setbacks and losses are just part of the process. What does this look like in daily life? It's the person who willingly invests in a $500 online course to learn a high-income skill, because they don't see it as a cost. They see it as an investment with a potential 100 times return. They are not focused on the $500 they are losing. They are focused on the $50,000 they can gain. It's the employee who sees a co-worker get a promotion and thinks, amazing, they deserved that. I'm going to take them to lunch and ask them what strategies they used so I can apply them to my own career path. They see success as a blueprint to be studied, not a resource that has been taken from them. It's the aspiring entrepreneur with that same brilliant idea who thinks, what is the smallest, cheapest, fastest way I can test this idea right now? They focus on the first step, the immediate possibility, not the 100 potential obstacles down the road. A person with an abundance mindset, when faced with something they desire, asks, how can I afford it? This statement is an opening. It is a question mark. It engages the most powerful problem-solving tool in the universe, the human brain. The brain immediately starts working, searching for pathways and solutions. This mindset actively shares knowledge, connects people, and believes in collaboration, knowing that a rising tide lifts all boats. It is an expansive, creative, and powerful way to live, and it is the fertile soil in which the seeds of wealth can truly flourish. You must understand that no one is born with one of these mindsets locked in place. They are developed, they are learned. For most of us, scarcity is programmed into us from a very young age. Think about the messages you heard about money as a child. Did you hear things like, money doesn't grow on trees, or we can't afford that, or rich people are greedy and dishonest? These phrases, repeated over and over, don't just bounce off you, they sink in, they form the unconscious rules in your mental operating system. If you were told that rich people are greedy, your subconscious mind will actively sabotage your efforts to become wealthy because it wants to protect you from becoming a greedy person. It's a form of self-preservation. Your mind is trying to keep you consistent with your deepest beliefs. This is why you see people win the lottery and lose it all within a few years. They were handed a massive amount of money, but they still had the scarcity mindset of a poor person. Their internal thermostat was set to a lower financial level, and their habits, decisions, and beliefs quickly worked to return them to that familiar setting. They proved a universal truth: you can never outperform the person you believe yourself to be. Lasting wealth is never an accident. It is always the result of an internal shift first. So the most important work you will ever do on your financial journey is not learning about stocks or real estate. It is the deep, internal work of upgrading your mindset from scarcity to abundance. This is the foundation upon which everything else will be built. Without it, any financial strategy you learn will eventually crumble. So, how do we do it? How do we take these ideas and turn them into real, tangible change in our lives? This is not about simply repeating positive affirmations you don't believe. That's like putting a fresh coat of paint on a crumbling wall. We need to rebuild the wall from the foundation up. Here are the actionable steps, the real how-to for forging your millionaire mindset. The first step is to identify and excavate your limiting beliefs. You cannot change an enemy you cannot see. Most of these beliefs are unconscious, running on autopilot in the background of your mind. We need to bring them into the light. I want you to take out a piece of paper or open a new document, and for the next 15 minutes I want you to complete the following sentences with the very first thought that comes to mind. Don't judge it, don't edit it, just write. The sentences are, money is, rich people are. I can't become wealthy because if I had a lot of money, I would be afraid that my parents taught me that money is, I feel guilty about money when, just let it all out. Whatever comes up, write it down. You might be shocked at what emerges. You might see beliefs like, money is the root of all evil, rich people are selfish, I'm not smart enough to build wealth, or it's not spiritual to want a lot of money. These are the weeds in your mental garden. Now for the second step of this process, We must challenge these beliefs. For every single limiting belief you wrote down, I want you to put it on trial. Ask yourself 4 powerful questions. Let's take the common belief, I'm not good with money. Question 1. Is this belief 100% absolutely true? Can you say with absolute certainty that you have never, not once, made a single good decision with money in your entire life? Probably not. You've likely paid a bill on time or saved up for something you wanted or chosen a less expensive option. The absolute statement, I'm not good with money, is likely false. Question 2. What is the evidence that supports this belief? Maybe you think about a time you got into credit card debt or made a bad purchase. Acknowledge this evidence. It is part of your story. Question 3. What is the evidence that contradicts this belief? Now you actively search for counter-evidence. Remember that time you got a raise? Or that time you negotiated a better price on something? Or the simple fact that you managed to feed and house yourself every month? These are all pieces of evidence that you are, in fact, capable of being good with money. Question 4. What is a more empowering, more accurate belief I can choose to install instead? Instead of, I'm not good with money, you could create a new belief like, I am learning to become a master at managing my money, or I am capable of making smart financial decisions. This new belief is not a lie, it's a new direction. It is a statement of intent that gives you power, whereas the old belief took it away. You must do this for every single limiting belief you identified. This is the hard work. This is the process of pulling the weeds out by the root. The second major tool in forging your millionaire mindset is to change your language. Words are not just sounds. They are programming instructions for your brain. The words you use consistently, both out loud and in your internal self-talk, shape your reality. The most profound shift you can make is to completely eliminate the phrase, I can't afford it, from your vocabulary. As we discussed, this phrase is a dead end. It signals to your brain that the problem is unsolvable and that it should stop working. You must replace it permanently with the question, how can I afford it? This simple linguistic shift does something miraculous. It transforms a statement of limitation into a question of possibility. It turns your brain from an idle engine into a powerful search engine, actively scanning the world for solutions. How can I afford it? Might lead you to think, I could pick up some extra shifts, or I could sell that old bike in the garage, or I could start a small side business, or I could learn a skill that would allow me to earn more. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of the questions you ask yourself. And this is one of the most powerful questions you can ever ask. This applies to all of your financial language. Pay attention to how you talk about money. Do you say things like, I'm so broke, or I hate dealing with bills, or it's so expensive? These phrases reinforce a reality of lack and struggle. Start consciously replacing them. Instead of I'm broke, say, I'm in a period of managing my cash flow carefully. Instead of I hate bills, say, I am grateful that I have the resources to pay for these services that make my life better. Instead of it's so expensive, ask, is this purchase a valuable use of my resources right now? This isn't about being dishonest with yourself. It is about framing your reality in a way that empowers you rather than victimizes you. You are not denying your current situation. You are refusing to let it define your identity and your future. You are taking control of the narrative. Your words create your world. Choose them with the same care you would use to build your dream home. The third practical tool is to cultivate an attitude of gratitude. This may sound like a soft, feel-good platitude, but it is one of the most potent and scientifically backed ways to shift your brain into an abundance frequency. When you are in a state of fear, anxiety, or worry about money, your brain is in a contracted fight or flight mode. It's impossible to see opportunities from this state. Gratitude is the direct antidote. When you genuinely feel grateful, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, the same neurotransmitters that are associated with happiness and well-being. It literally changes your brain chemistry, moving you from a state of lack to a state of appreciation for what you already have. An abundance mindset is not just about wanting more, it's about fully appreciating what is already here. Here is your daily practice. Every single morning, before you check your phone or let the world's problems rush into your mind, I want you to write down 3 specific things related to your financial life for which you are grateful, and they must be specific. Don't just write, "I'm grateful for my job." Write, "I am grateful for my job because it provides a steady paycheck that allows me to have a safe and warm place to sleep." Don't just write, "I'm grateful for my home." Write, "I am grateful for the hot water in my shower that allows me to start my day feeling clean and refreshed." You can be grateful for the meal you ate last night, the $50 in your bank account, the skills you possess that allow you to earn a living, or the free information available on the internet that can teach you how to improve your finances. By focusing on what you have, you send a powerful signal to your subconscious mind that you are already living in a state of abundance. This creates a positive feedback loop. The more you appreciate what you have, the more you will notice other good things to appreciate. You start to see the wealth that is already all around you, in your relationships, your health, and your opportunities. This practice costs nothing, takes 5 minutes, and will radically shift your entire perspective on wealth and life. The fourth tool is to become an opportunity seeker. People with a scarcity mindset are obstacle seekers. They are experts at finding problems. Your new job is to become an expert at finding opportunities. This is a skill, and like any skill, it requires practice. To do this, I want you to start what we will call a possibility journal. This is different from a regular journal. Every single day, your only task is to write down 1 to 3 new opportunities you notice that day. These don't have to be massive, life-changing business ideas. They can be small. Maybe you notice that the local coffee shop always has a long line in the morning and could benefit from a mobile ordering app. That's an opportunity. Maybe you overheard a friend complaining about how hard it is to find a reliable dog walker. That's an opportunity. Maybe you read an article about a new technology and saw a way it could be applied in a different industry. That's an opportunity. Maybe you identified a skill you have, like being good at organizing, that you could offer to help busy people declutter their homes. That's an opportunity. The purpose of this exercise is not necessarily to act on every idea. The purpose is to train your brain, your opportunity muscle, to constantly scan the world for possibilities instead of problems. Most people walk through their day with blinders on, completely oblivious to the hundreds of problems waiting to be solved, and every unsolved problem is a potential business opportunity. By consciously looking for these things every day, you will begin to rewire your default patterns of thinking. Within a few weeks, you will start seeing opportunities everywhere. You will move from being a passive consumer in the economy to an active creator of value. And remember this fundamental law of wealth: money is simply a certificate of appreciation for value that has been created and delivered. To earn more money, you must simply find more ways to create and deliver value to other people. Your possibility journal is your training ground for becoming a master value creator. Finally, the fifth tool for building your millionaire mindset is to curate your inputs. Your mind is like a garden. If you constantly allow weeds, pests, and poison to enter it, you will never grow anything beautiful. The news you watch, the social media you scroll through, the people you associate with, these are the seeds and the water for your mental garden. Most mainstream news is designed to trigger fear and outrage because that's what gets clicks and views. It is a fire hose of scarcity. Similarly, social media can often be a highlight reel of other people's lives that fuels comparison and a feeling of not enough. The people you surround yourself with are perhaps the most important input of all. If you spend all your time with people who complain about the economy, who believe rich people are evil, and who have a scarcity mindset, their beliefs will inevitably seep into your own. You must become a ruthless gatekeeper of what you allow into your mind. This might mean dramatically reducing your news consumption to just what you need to know. It might mean unfollowing social media accounts that make you feel envious or inadequate and following accounts that inspire and educate you. Most importantly, it means actively seeking out and spending time with people who have an abundance mindset. Find people who are optimistic, who are building things, who are learning and growing. Join online communities, go to local business meetups, find a mentor. Immerse yourself in the energy of abundance. When you are surrounded by people who see opportunities, you will start to see them too. When you are around people who believe that wealth is possible for them, you will start to believe it is possible for you. Your environment is a powerful force. Do not leave it to chance. Consciously design an environment that nourishes the mindset you want to cultivate. These 5 steps identifying and challenging your limiting beliefs, changing your language, practicing gratitude, becoming an opportunity seeker, and curating your inputs are not a one-time fix. They are a lifelong practice. This is your mental fitness routine. Just as you go to the gym to strengthen your body, you must perform these exercises to strengthen your mind. There will be days when you fall back into old patterns of thinking. That's normal. The goal is not perfection, it is progress. When you catch yourself thinking from a place of scarcity, don't beat yourself up. Simply acknowledge it and gently guide your thoughts back to a place of abundance. Remind yourself, that's the old way of thinking. My new way of thinking is, and then choose a more empowering thought. Remember the stories of countless self-made millionaires. People like J.K. Rowling, who was a single mother on welfare when she wrote the first Harry Potter book, or Howard Schultz, who grew up in the projects and built the Starbucks empire. Their circumstances were filled with scarcity, but their minds were filled with an unwavering belief in possibility. The statistics back this up. The book, The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko, which was a landmark study of millionaires in America, found that over 80% of them were first-generation rich. They did not inherit their money. They started with little and built their fortunes through a combination of hard work, discipline, and, most importantly, a mindset that was different from those around them. They believed in themselves and in the abundance of opportunity available. This is your first and most important task. Before you learn a single thing about budgeting or investing, you must get this part right. You must decide right now to become the architect of your own mind. You must commit to clearing out the old limiting beliefs and consciously planting the seeds of abundance, possibility, and empowerment. Your outer world of wealth will only ever grow to the extent that you grow your inner world first. This is the foundation. Build it strong, and you can build any financial future you can imagine. Your mind is your single greatest asset. Start treating it that way today. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the creator of your reality, and it all begins with the choice to adopt a new way of thinking. You have the power within you to change your mind, and when you change your mind, you will, without a doubt, change your life. Chapter 2. Setting your financial blueprint. Goals on your own terms. In the last chapter, we did the most important work of all. We began to till the soil of our minds, pulling out the weeds of scarcity and planting the seeds of abundance. We established that wealth is an inside game before it is ever an outside one. But a powerful engine without a steering wheel and a map will only lead you to spin in circles, burning precious fuel and getting nowhere. A positive mindset, on its own, is not enough. You can believe in abundance all day long, but if you have no clear destination, you will simply drift on the currents of life, ending up wherever they happen to take you. This chapter is about building your rudder and drawing your map. It is about transforming your vague, formless wishes into a crystal clear, actionable, and deeply personal financial blueprint. This is where we take the powerful why of your new mindset and connect it to a tangible what and an executable how. Most people live their lives in a state of quiet financial desperation, fueled by fuzzy, undefined desires. They say things like, "I want to be rich someday," or "I wish I had more money," or "It would be nice to be financially free." These are not goals. They are daydreams. They are the financial equivalent of saying, "I want to go somewhere nice on vacation," without ever choosing a country, booking a flight, or packing a bag. A wish is passive. It has no energy. It demands nothing of you, and therefore gives nothing back. A goal, a true goal, is a decision. It is an active living commitment. It has a deadline. It has a specific address. It pulls you forward, demanding that you rise to meet it. The difference between wishing for wealth and setting a clear goal to achieve it is the difference between watching a movie about someone climbing a mountain and actually putting on your hiking boots and taking the first step. Think about the construction of a skyscraper. No builder would ever show up to a plot of land with a pile of steel and concrete and just start building, hoping for the best. That would be insane. The result would be a chaotic, unstable, and dangerous mess. Before a single shovel hits the dirt, there is a blueprint. Every single detail is meticulously planned. the depth of the foundation, the thickness of the walls, the placement of every wire and every pipe, the load-bearing capacity of every beam. The blueprint is the vision made tangible. It is the guide that ensures every action taken by every worker contributes to the final magnificent structure. Your financial life deserves the same level of intention and design. Without a blueprint, you are just piling up random financial decisions, hoping they somehow create a stable structure of wealth. It will not happen. You must become the architect of your own financial future, and that process begins right now. The most effective framework for turning your vague wishes into powerful goals is a simple but profound concept, often used by the world's most successful people and organizations. It's about making your goals SMART. This isn't a clever gimmick. It is a filter through which every one of your financial ambitions must pass. SMART is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. We are going to break down each of these components, not as a boring business school lesson, but as a practical guide to building the pillars of your financial blueprint. First, your goal must be specific. This is the most important step, and the one where most people fail. I want to be rich is not specific. What does rich mean to you personally? We need to define it in excruciating detail. For some, it might be a specific net worth number. For others, it might be a certain amount of passive income per month. For others still, it could be the ability to pay for their children's education in cash, or to travel the world for 6 months out of the year without worrying about money. You must get crystal clear on what your target actually is. A vague target is impossible to hit. Let's do the work. I want you to grab that notebook we talked about in the last chapter. At the top of a new page, write, "My specific financial goal." Now let's explore some possibilities. Is it a net worth goal? Net worth is the single best measure of your financial health. It's the value of everything you own, your assets like cash, investments, real estate, minus everything you owe, your liabilities like credit card debt, student loans, a mortgage. A specific goal would be, my goal is to achieve a net worth of $1 million. That is specific. Or perhaps you're more motivated by cash flow. In that case, your goal might be a passive income goal. Passive income is money you earn without actively trading your time for it, such as from rental properties, dividends from stocks, or royalties from a book. A specific goal here would be, my goal is to generate $10,000 per month in passive income. That is incredibly specific. Or maybe your goal is tied to a specific life event. For example, my goal is to save $150,000 for a down payment on a house in my desired neighborhood. Or, my goal is to have a portfolio of investments large enough to cover all of my family's living expenses. The key is to move from the abstract feeling of rich to a concrete number that you can write down and look at. Why is this so crucial? Because a specific goal activates a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, or RAS. The RAS is like a filter for your brain. You are bombarded with millions of pieces of information every second, and the RAS filters out what is unimportant and brings to your attention what you have told it is important. Have you ever decided you wanted to buy a specific model of a car, say a red Jeep Wrangler, and then suddenly you start seeing red Jeep Wranglers everywhere you go? They were always there, but you never noticed them before. Once you told your brain, "This is important to me," your RAS started pointing them out. The same thing happens when you set a specific financial goal. When you declare your goal is to achieve a $1 million net worth, your brain starts to notice information and opportunities related to that goal that you were completely blind to before. You'll notice an article about investing. You'll overhear a conversation about a side business. You'll see a book about personal finance and it will feel like it's calling to you. You are literally programming your brain to help you succeed. So take the time now, pause, and write down your single most important, most specific financial goal. Make it so clear that a child could understand it. Second, your goal must be measurable. This is about knowing where you stand and tracking your progress. If your goal is to climb a mountain, you need mile markers along the way to know how far you have come and how far you have yet to go. These markers provide feedback and keep you motivated. If you have no way of measuring your progress, it's easy to get discouraged and give up, because it feels like you're not making any headway. A measurable goal allows you to celebrate small wins along the way, which builds momentum. Momentum is a powerful force. An object in motion stays in motion. If your specific goal is to achieve a $1 million net worth, the measurement is simple. You need to calculate your current net worth. This might sound intimidating, but it's incredibly simple. On one side of a piece of paper, list all your assets. This includes the cash in your bank accounts, the value of your investment accounts, the current market value of your home if you own one, the value of your car, and any other significant assets. On the other side, list all your liabilities. This includes your credit card balances, student loan debt, car loan, mortgage, and any other money you owe. Now simply subtract your total liabilities from your total assets. The result is your net worth. This number is your starting line. It doesn't matter if it's negative. Many people start with a negative net worth due to student loans or other debt. That's okay. The most important thing is that you have a number, you have your starting point. Now you can commit to measuring this number on a regular basis, perhaps on the first day of every month. This simple act of tracking is transformative. It forces you to be honest with yourself and keeps your goal top of mind. As you see that number begin to tick upwards, even by a small amount, it provides a shot of motivation that is more powerful than any motivational quote. You are seeing tangible proof that your efforts are working. If your goal is passive income, the measurement is just as simple. You track how much money came in this month from your investments or side businesses. Your goal is to see that number grow consistently over time. You cannot improve what you do not measure. Make a commitment to track your key financial metric every single month. Third, your goal must be achievable. This is a delicate balance. Your goal should be big enough to inspire you and stretch you out of your comfort zone, but it should also feel believable to you on some level. If you are currently earning $40,000 a year and have a negative net worth, setting a goal to become a billionaire in 5 years is not just unachievable, it's counterproductive. Your subconscious mind will immediately reject it as fantasy, and you won't take any serious action towards it, because you don't actually believe it's possible. It can lead to disillusionment and cause you to give up entirely. You want to aim for the top of the tree, not the moon. So how do you find that sweet spot? It's about breaking down the big dream into a series of believable steps. Perhaps that long-term vision is to be a decamillionaire. Fantastic. But your first achievable goal might be to get to a net worth of 0 by paying off all your high-interest debt. That is an incredibly powerful and achievable goal. Once you hit that, your next achievable goal might be to build an emergency fund of 6 months' worth of living expenses. Then, your next goal might be to reach your first $100,000 in invested assets. This is a goal that has been proven by millions of people to be achievable. It's a significant milestone that builds immense confidence. $100,000 when invested starts to feel like a real sum of money that can work for you. It's a stepping stone. From there, the goal of reaching $250,000, then $500,000, and then $1 million becomes more and more believable. You are building a staircase to your ultimate ambition, with each step being a solid, achievable goal in itself. The key is to ask yourself, does this goal excite me, and do I truly believe on a gut level that if I do the right things consistently, I can make it happen? If the answer is yes, you've found a great goal. If it feels like a complete fantasy, break it down into a smaller, more immediate goal that does feel achievable. Success is built on a foundation of small, consistent wins. Fourth, your goal must be relevant. This might be the most important component of all. It's the why behind the what. Why do you want to achieve this specific, measurable, achievable goal? If your motivation is shallow, it will not survive the first major obstacle you encounter. And trust me, there will be obstacles. Life will test your resolve. If your why is to buy a fancy car to impress people you don't even like, your motivation will crumble when you have to choose between a night out with friends and working on your side business. But if your why is deeply connected to your core values, it will become an unbreakable source of fuel. I want you to perform a visualization exercise right now. It's powerful, so please give it your full attention. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths. Now, I want you to imagine yourself 5, 10, or 15 years in the future. You have achieved your specific financial goal. You have the $1 million net worth or the $10,000 a month in passive income. I want you to step into that version of yourself. What does your typical Tuesday look like? When you wake up in the morning, what is the first feeling you have? Is it peace, freedom, excitement? What do you do with your day now that you are not forced to trade your time for money? Are you traveling? Are you spending more time with your children or your partner? Are you starting that passion project you always dreamed of? Are you donating your time or money to a cause you deeply care about? Feel the emotions of that life. Feel the lack of stress. Feel the sense of empowerment and choice. What does it feel like to be able to answer only to yourself and your own passions? This feeling, this vision, this is your why. Your goal is not about the money is just the tool. The goal is about the life that the money will allow you to live. It is about freedom. The freedom to choose how you spend your days, who you spend them with, and what work you do. It is about security, the peace of mind that comes from knowing you and your family are protected from financial emergencies. It is about experience, the ability to travel, learn, and create memories that will last a lifetime. And it is about contribution, the capacity to give back and make a positive impact on the world. Now open your eyes. Write down in detail what you saw and what you felt. Underneath your specific goal, write, "The reason this goal is so important to me is," and then pour out everything from your visualization. This statement of relevance is your emotional anchor. When you are feeling tired, discouraged, or tempted to give up, you will read this statement. It will remind you that you are not just working to see a number go up in a bank account. You are working for your freedom. You are working for your family. You are working for the life you were meant to live. A goal without relevance is a job. A goal with deep personal relevance is a calling. Fifth, your goal must be time-bound. A goal without a deadline is just a dream. It's a someday project that will always be pushed to the back burner. A deadline creates a sense of urgency and a healthy pressure that forces you to focus and take action. There is a concept known as Parkinson's Law, which states that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion. If you give yourself a month to complete a 2-hour task, it will somehow take you a month. If you give yourself your entire life to become a millionaire, it will take your entire life. But if you set a specific date, your mind and actions will organize themselves around meeting that deadline. So let's go back to your goal. If your goal is to achieve a $1 million net worth, give it a date. I will achieve a $1 million net worth by December 31st, 2038. If your goal is to pay off $30,000 in debt, give it a date. I will be completely debt-free by my birthday in 2 years. The date makes it real. It creates a finish line that you can run towards. It turns an abstract concept into a concrete project plan. Now, we must combine all these elements into a single, powerful goal statement. It should look something like this. I will achieve a net worth of $1 million by the time I turn 45, because this will give me the freedom to travel the world with my family and the security of knowing we are protected. Or, I will generate $5,000 in monthly passive income within the next 7 years, because this will allow me to quit my stressful job and focus on my passion for painting. This is a complete, powerful, and deeply personal goal. This is the heart of your financial blueprint. Once you have this big, long-term, time-bound goal, the next step is to break it down. Say a goal to build $1 million net worth in 15 years can feel daunting. It's so far in the future that it's easy to procrastinate. We need to bring it into the present. We do this through a process of reverse engineering. Let's take that goal. Accumulate $1 million in 15 years. 15 years is 180 months. 1 million divided by 180 is approximately $5,555 per month. That is the amount your net worth needs to increase by, on average, every single month for the next 15 years. Now we're getting somewhere. That feels more manageable. That is roughly $1,280 per week, or about $183 per day. Suddenly, the monumental task of becoming a millionaire is transformed into a simple daily question. What did I do today to increase my net worth by $183? This number becomes your daily target. You can achieve it through 2 primary levers: saving and investing more of your current income, or increasing your income. Maybe today you packed your lunch instead of buying it, saving $15. You cancelled a subscription you don't use, saving another $20 a month. You spent an hour learning a new skill that could lead to a raise. You listed an old item for sale online. All these small actions add up. It brings the goal from a distant dream into a daily practice. This process of breaking it down makes the impossible feel possible. It provides a clear daily target that guides your actions. As a final, powerful action step for this chapter, let's define your freedom number. This is arguably the most important number you will ever calculate. Your freedom number is the amount of money you need to have invested so that you can live comfortably off the returns for the rest of your life without ever having to work for money again. This is the definition of true financial independence. Here is how you calculate it in 3 simple steps. First, figure out your ideal annual expenses. Look at your current spending, but also imagine your ideal life. How much would you need per year to cover your housing, food, transportation, healthcare, travel, and hobbies, living a life that you would consider joyful and fulfilling? Be honest and realistic. Let's say, for this example, that number is $80,000 per year. Second, we apply a widely used and well-tested guideline from the financial independence community called the 4% rule. This rule suggests that you can safely withdraw 4% of your invested assets each year without depleting your principal over the long term. The historical data on market returns suggests that your portfolio will likely continue to grow even as you draw from it. Third, to find your freedom number, you simply multiply your ideal annual expenses by 25, which is the inverse of 4%. So in our example, $80,000 multiplied by 25 equals $2 million. $2 million is your freedom number. That is the specific target for your financial independence. This number is now the ultimate destination on your map. It's not a number you pulled out of thin air. It is a number based on the life you actually want to live. Now you have a complete financial blueprint. You have a long-term, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goal, perhaps your freedom number. You have broken it down into yearly, monthly, and even daily targets. And most importantly, you have connected it to a deep emotional why that will serve as your constant source of motivation. You have moved from being a passenger in your financial life to being the pilot. You have a clear destination, you have a flight plan, and you have the internal motivation to handle any turbulence you encounter along the way. This blueprint is not set in stone. Life changes. Your goals may evolve. You can and should revisit this blueprint at least once a year to make sure it still aligns with your values and your vision for your life. But for now, you have something that 99% of the population does not: a clear written plan for your financial destiny. This clarity will give you a tremendous advantage. It will simplify your decisions, focus your efforts, and provide you with a sense of purpose and direction that is the true hallmark of a millionaire mind. The journey ahead is long, but now, for the first time, you have a map. In the next chapter, we will start building the vehicle that will take you there. Chapter 3. The simple math of wealth. The unbreakable rules. In the last chapter, we drew the map. We created your personal financial blueprint, transforming vague wishes into a concrete destination with a powerful emotional why to fuel your journey. You now know exactly where you are going. This chapter is about the vehicle that will get you there. It's about the engine, the wheels, and the fuel. We are moving from the what and why to the fundamental how. We are going to strip away all the complexity and financial jargon that intimidates so many people and focus on the simple, timeless, and unbreakable rules of building wealth. The good news is that the math of wealth is not complicated. It does not require an advanced degree or a genius-level intellect. In fact, it can be distilled down to a single, elegant formula. Your mastery of this one formula will determine your financial destiny more than any other factor. Here it is. The golden formula, the unbreakable law of financial physics. Spend less than you earn and invest the surplus wisely. That's it. That is the entire game in one sentence. Every financially successful person, from your quiet millionaire neighbor to the titans of industry, has mastered this principle. whether they consciously think about it or not. And conversely, nearly every person who struggles with money, regardless of their income, is violating this fundamental rule. Notice the two critical parts of this formula. The first part is creating a surplus, spending less than you earn. This is your defense. The second part is investing that surplus wisely. This is your offense. You need both to win the game. A great defense with no offense might not lose, but it will never win. A great offense with no defense will eventually get wiped out. The magic happens when you combine a strong financial defense with a powerful financial offense. Let's first be brutally honest about why so many people, even those with high incomes, fail at the first part of this formula. We live in a world that is expertly designed to make you fail. From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, you are bombarded with thousands of sophisticated marketing messages, all with one goal: to separate you from your money. Social media platforms show you curated highlight reels of other people's lives, creating a powerful sense of comparison and a feeling of "I need that to be happy." Companies employ armies of psychologists and data scientists to design advertisements that bypass your rational brain and trigger your deepest emotional desires for status, comfort, and belonging. The concept of retail therapy is real. We are conditioned to spend money to soothe our feelings of stress, boredom, or sadness. The pressure to keep up with the Joneses is a powerful social force that pushes people into buying bigger houses, fancier cars, and more expensive gadgets than they can truly afford, all to project an image of success. This culture of hyper-consumerism creates a powerful headwind that makes the simple act of spending less than you earn a revolutionary act of defiance. To illustrate the power of this golden formula, let me tell you the tale of two doctors. Both doctors, Dr. Adams and Dr. Brown, graduate from medical school at the same time, with the same amount of student debt. They both get great jobs, and by the time they are 35, they are both earning a fantastic income of $300,000 per year. From the outside, their financial situations look identical, but their internal mindsets and their relationship with the golden formula are worlds apart. Dr. Adams believes that her high income entitles her to a high-status lifestyle. She immediately buys a large, luxurious house in an expensive neighborhood with a huge mortgage. She leases the latest model of a German luxury car. Her weekends are filled with expensive dinners, designer clothes, and exotic vacations, all meticulously documented on social media. She saves very little, thinking her high income will always be there to support her spending. She is earning a lot, but she is spending just as much, if not more. She has a great offense, but zero defense. Dr. Brown, on the other hand, understands the golden formula. She decides to live on a fraction of her income. She buys a modest, comfortable house in a good, but not extravagant neighborhood. She buys a reliable 3-year-old used car and pays for it in cash. She enjoys her life, takes nice vacations, and eats at good restaurants, but she does so intentionally, not habitually. Most importantly, she automates the process of saving and investing a significant portion of her income every single month. 40 to 50% of her paycheck is automatically transferred to her investment accounts before she even has a chance to see it or spend it. While Dr. Adams has a net worth that is barely positive, bogged down by mortgage and car debt, Dr. Brown is quietly building a massive base of income-producing assets. By the time they are 50, Dr. Adams is still working just as hard, trapped on what we call the hedonic treadmill. She needs her high income just to pay the bills for the lifestyle she has created. She feels stressed and burned out. She is a high-income, low-wealth individual. Dr. Brown, however, is a multi-millionaire. The income from her investments alone is now enough to cover her entire lifestyle. She has the option to retire, to work part-time, to start a charitable foundation, or to do anything she wants. She has achieved true financial freedom. Both had the same income. The only difference was their commitment to the unbreakable rule: spend less than you earn and invest the surplus wisely. This story proves that your income level does not determine your wealth. Your savings rate and your investment discipline determine your wealth. So, how do we master the first part of this equation? How do we create that all-important surplus? For many, the answer they hear is, you need to make a budget. The very word budget can feel like a straitjacket. It conjures up feelings of restriction, deprivation, and painful penny pinching. It feels like a diet. And what happens with most diets? They fail. We need to reframe this entire concept. We are not creating a budget. We are designing a conscious spending plan. This is not about restriction. It is about alignment. The goal is not to stop you from spending money. It is to ensure that your spending is aligned with the goals and the life vision you created in the last chapter. It's about consciously directing your money towards the things that bring you true, lasting value and ruthlessly cutting back on the things that don't. The first step in creating a conscious spending plan is to gain clarity. You need to know exactly where your money is going right now. Most people have no idea. They know how much they make and they know that at the end of the month there's not much left. But the space in between is a fog. We need to turn on the lights. For the next 30 days, I want you to track every single dollar you spend. Every coffee, every subscription, every grocery bill, every online purchase. You can do this with a small notebook you carry with you, a simple spreadsheet, or one of the many free expense tracking apps available. The tool doesn't matter. The habit of tracking does. This is not about judging yourself, it is about gathering data. You are a detective looking for clues about your own financial habits. At the end of the 30 days, I want you to categorize your spending. Common categories include housing, transportation, food, utilities, debt payments, personal care, entertainment, and shopping. Be honest. Once you have this data, you will likely be shocked. You will discover the latte factor, a concept popularized by author David Buck. It's not literally about the lattes. It's about the small, seemingly insignificant habitual purchases that add up to a staggering amount of money over time. You might find that your $5 a day coffee habit is costing you over $1,500 a year. That daily $10 lunch at work is costing you $2,500 a year. Those 3 streaming subscriptions you barely use are another $400 a year. These are the leaks in your financial boat. Individually, they seem like nothing. Combined, they are sinking you. Your spending audit will reveal your personal latte factors. Now that you have clarity, you can start making conscious choices. Look at each category and ask yourself the tough questions. Is this spending aligned with my values and my goals? Is this purchase bringing me real, lasting joy? Or is it a momentary fix? Is there a less expensive way to get the same result? This is where you can make huge progress. You might decide that the daily fancy coffee is not worth delaying your financial freedom by several years, and you start making great coffee at home for a fraction of the price. You might realize that you value home-cooked meals more than expensive takeout, so you start meal prepping on Sundays. You decide to cancel 2 of your 3 streaming services and the gym membership you never use. This is not about deprivation. It is about optimization. It's about redirecting money from low-value, unconscious spending to high-value, conscious goals. Every dollar you reclaim from a latte factor is a dollar you can put to work in your investment portfolio, building your freedom. A simple and effective framework to guide your conscious spending plan is the 50-30-20 rule. This is a guideline, not a strict law, but it provides a fantastic starting point. The idea is to divide your after-tax income into 3 buckets. 50% should go towards your needs. These are the absolute essentials: your housing, rent or mortgage, utilities, transportation to work, groceries, and minimum debt payments. If you find you are spending significantly more than 50% on your needs, it might be a sign that your core living expenses, like your housing or car payment, are too high for your income, and you may need to consider making a bigger life change in the future. 30% of your income is allocated to your wants. This is the fun stuff: your hobbies, entertainment, dining out, vacations, and any other non-essential shopping. This is the part of the plan that makes it sustainable. It gives you permission to enjoy your life today while still building for the future. 20% of your income is for your future self. This is the most important bucket. This is your savings and investments. This 20% is the surplus you will use to build your wealth. For most people, a 20% savings rate is a fantastic goal. If you want to achieve financial freedom faster, you will need to increase this percentage. Many in the financial independence retire early, FIRE movement, aim for savings rates of 50% or more. The key is to make that 20% or more non-negotiable. This brings us to the second part of the equation, increasing your income. Playing defense by cutting expenses is crucial, but there is a limit to how much you can cut. You can only trim your spending down to zero. However, there is no theoretical limit to how much you can earn. This is where you play offense, and this is what truly accelerates your wealth-building journey. You must not see your current income as a fixed ceiling. You must see it as a flexible floor from which you can build. There are two primary avenues for increasing your income: maximizing your earnings from your primary job and creating additional streams of income. Let's start with your primary job, your 9 to 5. For most people, this is their largest and most consistent source of income. Too many people treat their job passively. They show up, do what is asked of them, and collect a paycheck. To increase your income, you must shift from being a passive employee to being a valuable contributor who actively seeks to increase their worth. The first step is to become indispensable. You need to become so good at what you do that your boss and your company cannot imagine functioning without you. This means going beyond your job description. It means anticipating problems before they arise and coming to your boss with solutions, not just questions. It means constantly learning and developing new skills that are valuable to your organization. Look at the people in your company who are in the positions you want to be in 5 years from now. What skills do they have that you don't? Make a plan to acquire those skills, whether through online courses, certifications, or company-sponsored training. The more value you provide, the more leverage you have when it comes time to talk about compensation. Which brings us to the art of negotiating a raise. This is a skill that can be worth tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of your career, yet most people are terrified of it. Here is a simple 4-step plan for successfully negotiating a higher salary. Step 1. Do your research. Use websites like Glassdoor, Salary.com, and LinkedIn to find out what the market rate is for someone with your skills, experience, and responsibilities in your geographic area. You must be armed with data. Step 2. Build your case. For at least 6 months leading up to your salary review, keep a brag file. This is a document where you log every single one of your accomplishments. Did you complete a project ahead of schedule and under budget? Did you land a new client? Did you implement a new process that saved the company time or money? Quantify your achievements whenever possible. "I increased sales in my department by 15% is far more powerful than "I'm a good salesperson." Step 3. Timing is everything. The best time to ask for a raise is after a big win or during your company's annual review period. Don't ambush your boss on a stressful Monday morning. Schedule a formal meeting to discuss your career growth and compensation. Step 4. The conversation itself. Be professional, confident, and data-driven. Start by reiterating your commitment to the company and highlighting your key accomplishments from your brag file. Then, present your research on market salaries. You might say something like, "Based on my contributions here and the market data for my role, I believe a salary in the range of X to Y would be more appropriate." Be prepared for a negotiation. They may not agree to your first number, but by starting the conversation and backing it up with evidence of your value, you have dramatically increased your chances of a significant pay bump. Learning this one skill is one of the highest return investments you can make in yourself. The second path to increasing your income is to build additional income streams outside of your main job. Relying on a single source of income in today's world is incredibly risky. A layoff or a company downturn could wipe out your entire financial foundation overnight. Self-made millionaires understand this. The author Tom Corley, in his research for his book Rich Habits, found that 65% of self-made millionaires had at least 3 streams of income. This is not just for security, it is for acceleration. Every extra dollar you earn from a side income stream can be funneled directly into your investments, dramatically speeding up your timeline to financial freedom. The idea of starting a side hustle can feel overwhelming, so the key is to start small. Your first goal is not to build $1 million business. Your first goal is to make your first dollar outside of your day job. This first dollar is psychologically profound. It proves to you that you can create value and be compensated for it on your own terms. So how do you find an idea? Start with what you already have. Make a list of your skills, your hobbies, and your knowledge. Are you a great writer? You could offer freelance writing or editing services on platforms like Upwork or Fiverr. Do you love dogs? You could start a dog walking or pet sitting service in your neighborhood using an app like Rover. Are you a skilled musician? You could offer music lessons to children. Are you organized and good at graphic design? You could help small businesses create social media content. The gig economy has made it easier than ever to monetize your existing skills. Another approach is to solve a small, annoying problem. Think about your own life or the lives of your friends. What are the common complaints? I'm too busy to cook healthy meals. That's a potential meal prep service. I can never find a reliable handyman. That's a potential business. Assembling this IKEA furniture is a nightmare. That's a service you could offer on a local task app. The opportunities are endless if you train yourself to look for problems you can solve for others. Your first side hustle doesn't need to be your passion. It needs to be practical. The goal is to generate an extra $500 to $1,000 per month. Once you have that cash flow, you have options. You can use it to aggressively pay down debt. You can use it to max out your investment accounts. You have opened up a new valve for wealth creation. Finally, to truly solidify these new habits, I want to challenge you to implement the simple action from our outline. Once a month, I want you to have a no-spend weekend. From Friday evening until Monday morning, you are not allowed to spend any money. This might sound difficult, but it is an incredibly powerful exercise. This challenge forces you to break out of your autopilot consumer habits. It forces creativity. Instead of going out for an expensive dinner and a movie, you can cook a new recipe at home and watch a classic movie from the library. Instead of going to the mall, you can go for a hike, visit a free museum, play board games with your family, or spend the afternoon reading in a park. This challenge teaches you a profound lesson, that the best things in life are often free, and that your happiness is not directly tied to the act of spending money. It also shows you just how much you are capable of saving when you are intentional. The money you save during that weekend can go directly towards your financial goals. It's a small win that builds the muscle of discipline and conscious choice. These are the unbreakable rules. Spend less than you earn. Do this by creating a conscious spending plan, not a restrictive budget. Know where your money is going and align your spending with your values. Then, work on widening the gap between your earning and spending by playing offense. Become so valuable at your job that you can command a higher salary and start a small side income stream to accelerate your progress. This is the simple, unglamorous, but incredibly effective engine of wealth creation. It is not about a hot stock tip or a get-rich-quick scheme. It is about a disciplined, conscious, and consistent application of this simple math. Master this, and you are not just on the path to wealth, you are on the expressway. You have taken control of your cash flow, and in doing so, you have taken control of your destiny. Chapter 4. The Automatic Wealth Machine, Saving and Investing on Autopilot. In the previous chapters, we laid the foundation of your new mindset and drew the blueprint for your financial destiny. You know what you believe, and you know where you are going. Now, we must build the engine. We must construct a system so powerful, so reliable, and so effortless that it will build your wealth for you, day and night, whether you're feeling motivated or lazy, focused or distracted. This is the chapter where we stop relying on the most unreliable resource you have, your own willpower. Willpower is a finite battery. It's strong in the morning but depleted by the end of a long, hard day. It can be drained by a stressful meeting, a difficult conversation, or even just the temptation of a donut in the break room. Building wealth on a foundation of willpower is like trying to build a castle on shifting sand. Sooner or later, the tide will come in and it will all wash away. The truly wealthy do not rely on willpower to save and invest. They do not wake up every morning and decide to be disciplined. Instead, they do something far more intelligent. They build systems. They create an automatic architecture that makes their desired financial behaviors the default, the path of least resistance. They build what I call the automatic wealth machine. This machine has one simple purpose: to systematically and relentlessly move money from the column where you earn it into the column where it grows for you. It does this automatically, without your daily input, without requiring any emotional energy. Once you set it up, it works for you while you work, while you sleep, and while you live your life. It is the single greatest tool for turning your income into lasting wealth. This chapter is your user manual for building this machine. The foundational gear in this machine is a principle so simple and so ancient that its wisdom has been passed down for thousands of years, most famously in the classic book, The Richest Man in Babylon. The principle is this: pay yourself first. This is not a suggestion, it is a command. It is the prime directive for anyone serious about building wealth. Most people, when they receive their paycheck, do the exact opposite. They pay everyone else first. They pay the landlord or the mortgage company. They pay the car loan company. They pay the credit card companies. They pay for groceries, for gas, for utilities, for subscriptions. They pay everyone else. And then if there is anything left at the end of the month, they might consider saving it. This is what we call paying yourself last, and it is a guaranteed recipe for financial mediocrity. Why? Because there is almost never anything left. Parkinson's law, which we mentioned earlier, doesn't just apply to time. It applies to money. Expenses will always rise to meet income. If the money is sitting in your checking account, you will find a way to spend it. A new gadget will go on sale, a friend will invite you to an expensive dinner, your car will make a funny noise. The money will simply vanish. Paying yourself first completely flips this broken script. It is a profound declaration that your future is your most important bill. It is a non-negotiable expense. With the pay yourself first method, the very first transaction that happens after your paycheck hits your account is a payment to your future self. This is a transfer of a predetermined amount of money from your checking account into your savings and investment accounts. This happens before you pay a single bill, before you buy a single coffee, before you even have the chance to think about spending it. You live off what is left over, not the other way around. This seems like a small semantic difference, but psychologically, it is a universe apart. When you pay yourself last, saving is an afterthought. When you pay yourself first, saving becomes the priority. You force yourself to adjust your spending to accommodate your savings goal, rather than adjusting your savings goal to accommodate your spending whims. This is the only way to guarantee you will consistently build your surplus. So how do we make this powerful principle effortless? We automate it. Automation is the secret weapon that turns a good intention into a locked-in habit. Every modern bank and brokerage firm offers the ability to set up automatic recurring transfers. This technology is your best friend. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to use this technology to build a seamless pipeline that moves money from your employer to your checking account and then immediately diverts a portion of it to your investment accounts, all without you lifting a finger. Here is the step-by-step process to build your own automatic wealth machine. Step 1. Decide on your pay yourself first percentage. In the last chapter, we talked about the 50-30-20 rule, with 20% going towards savings and investments. This is an excellent starting point. If you earn, for example, $4,000 per month after taxes, your pay yourself first amount would be $800. If 20% feels impossible right now, do not panic. Start with something smaller. Start with 10% or 5% or even just 1%. The most important thing is not the amount. It is the act of starting and building the habit of automation. You can and you will increase this percentage over time. Let's say you decide to start with 10%, which is $400 per month. Step 2. Open the right accounts. You need a destination for your pay yourself first money. This isn't your regular savings account at the bank, which pays next to nothing in interest. This money needs to be put to work. You need investment accounts. If your employer offers a retirement plan like a 401k or a 403b, especially if they offer a match, this is the absolute first place your money should go. An employer match is free money. If your company says they will match your contributions up to 5% of your salary, it means they will give you a 100% return on your investment instantly. There is no better deal in the financial world. Not taking full advantage of your employer match is like lighting a pile of money on fire. So the first part of your automation is to log into your employee benefits portal and set your 401k contribution to at least the level of the full company match. This money will be taken directly from your paycheck before it even hits your bank account. This is the most powerful form of paying yourself first. After you have secured the full employer match, the next accounts you should consider are an individual retirement arrangement, or IRA, and a standard brokerage account. An IRA is a special type of investment account that gives you fantastic tax advantages. A Roth IRA, for example, allows you to invest after-tax money, and then all of your future growth and withdrawals in retirement are 100% tax-free. This is an incredibly powerful wealth-building tool. You can open a Roth IRA at any major reputable brokerage firm like Vanguard, Fidelity, or Charles Schwab in about 15 minutes online. A standard brokerage account is a taxable investment account that you can use for goals outside of retirement. Step 3. Set up the automatic transfers. This is the heart of the machine. Let's continue with our example. You're earning $4,000 per month and your goal is to save 10% or $400. You've already set 5% of your salary to go to your 401k to get the match. Now, you need to automate the rest. You will log into your bank's website. You will find the section for automatic transfers or recurring payments. You will set up a transfer from your checking account to your Roth IRA. You will set the amount, let's say $200. Then, you will set the schedule. This is crucial. You want the transfer to happen on the same day you get paid or the day immediately after. If you get paid on the 1st and the 15th of the month, you would set up a $100 transfer on the 2nd and the 16th. This ensures the money is gone before you can touch it. You've now automated your savings. The machine is built. Your paycheck comes in, your 401k contribution is automatically deducted, and your IRA contribution is automatically transferred. You are now living on what's left. You have made saving your priority, and you have made it effortless. Now we come to the part that paralyzes so many people, the investing itself. You have the money moving into your investment accounts automatically. But what do you actually buy with it? The world of investing seems like a terrifying, complex universe filled with jargon, flashing charts, and slick television personalities yelling at you to buy or sell. This complexity is a myth. It is a barrier created by the financial industry to make you feel like you need to pay them high fees to manage your money. I am here to tell you that you do not. For the vast majority of people, the best investment strategy is shockingly simple. It is so simple that most people can't believe it's the right answer. Before we get to the solution, let's address the fear. Many people think investing is the same as gambling. They picture a man in a casino betting his life savings on a single spin of the roulette wheel. This is not investing. This is speculation. Gambling is putting money on a short-term, unpredictable outcome. Investing is becoming a part owner of productive businesses that sell real products and services to real people. When you buy a stock, you are not buying a lottery ticket. You are buying a tiny fractional share of a real company. If you buy a share of Apple, you own a tiny piece of every iPhone sold. If you buy a share of Starbucks, you own a tiny piece of every cup of coffee they serve. Over the long term, if these businesses continue to grow and become more profitable, the value of your tiny piece will also grow. The stock market as a whole is a collection of the world's largest and most successful businesses. While any single company can fail, the odds of all of them failing at the same time permanently are virtually zero. For that to happen, the entire global economy would have to cease to exist. So, if we are buying pieces of businesses, which ones should we buy? The temptation is to try to find the next big thing, the next Amazon or Tesla. This is called stock picking. The problem is, it is incredibly difficult to do this successfully over the long term. Even the vast majority of highly paid professional money managers fail to beat the overall market average over time. A famous study by S&P Dow Jones Indices consistently finds that over any 10 to 15-year period, more than 80 to 90% of professional fund managers underperform their benchmark index. These are the experts with fancy degrees and supercomputers. If they can't do it, what makes us think we can? The solution is to not even try to play that game. Instead of trying to find the winning needle in the haystack, we are simply going to buy the entire haystack. We do this by investing in something called a low-cost, broad market index fund. An index fund is a type of mutual fund or exchange-traded fund, ETF, that holds a collection of stocks designed to mimic the performance of a specific market index like the S&P 500. The S&P 500 is simply a list of the 500 largest and most profitable publicly traded companies in the United States. When you buy a share of an S&P 500 index fund, you are instantly becoming a part owner in 500 of the best companies in the world. You own a piece of Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, and hundreds of others, all in one simple, low-cost purchase. This strategy has two massive advantages. The first is instant diversification. Your risk is spread out across hundreds of companies in dozens of different industries. If one company has a bad year, it has a very small impact on your overall portfolio. This is the opposite of putting all your eggs in one basket. The second advantage is incredibly low cost. Because index funds are passively managed, they just buy the companies on the list. They don't have expensive teams of analysts trying to pick stocks. Their fees, known as expense ratios, are incredibly low. This is a huge deal. High fees are a cancer on your investment returns. A 1% difference in fees can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime of investing. Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time, has repeatedly stated that for the majority of people, the best thing they can do is to consistently buy and hold a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. So when you set up your 401k or your Roth IRA, you will look for a fund with a name like S&P 500 Index Fund or Total Stock Market Index Fund. A total stock market fund is even broader, giving you a piece of virtually every publicly traded company in the US, which is also a fantastic choice. You will set up your automatic contributions to be invested directly into this single, simple fund. And that's it. You have now automated not just your saving, but your investing as well. You have a sophisticated, diversified, low-cost investment portfolio that runs on its own. Now, let's talk about the fuel that will make this machine produce astonishing results. The fuel is a force that Albert Einstein supposedly called the eighth wonder of the world. He said, "He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it." This force is compound interest, or more accurately, compound growth. Compounding is the process where your investment returns themselves start to generate their own returns. It's the snowball effect. As a snowball rolls down a hill, it picks up more snow, which makes it bigger. As it gets bigger, it picks up even more snow with each rotation. Your money works the same way. In the beginning, the process is slow, almost imperceptible, but over time it becomes an unstoppable avalanche of wealth. Let's look at a concrete example to truly understand its power. Meet two friends, consistent Chloe and late starter Larry. Chloe starts investing at age 25. She builds her automatic wealth machine to invest just $300 every month. She does this consistently, month in and month out. Larry, on the other hand, decides to wait. He wants to enjoy his 20s. He finally gets serious about investing at age 35, 10 years after Chloe. To make up for lost time, he decides to invest double what Chloe does. He sets his machine to invest $600 every month. Both of them invest in the same simple index fund, and we will assume they get an average annual return of 8%, which is a reasonable long-term historical average for the stock market. They both plan to retire at age 65. Now let's look at the results. Chloe, who invested $300 a month for 40 years, contributed a total of $144,000 of her own money. Late starter Larry, who invested $600 a month for 30 years, contributed a total of $216,000 of his own money. Larry actually invested $72,000 more out of his own pocket than Chloe did. So who do you think ends up with more money? The answer is astounding. At age 65, Larry's portfolio would have grown to approximately $878,000, a fantastic sum. But Chloe, because she had an extra 10 years for her money to compound, would have a portfolio worth over $1 million. Even though she invested significantly less of her own money, she ended up with over $100,000 more than Larry. That difference, that extra $100,000 plus, is the magic of compounding. It was the money that her money earned. Time is the most important ingredient in the recipe for wealth. The 10 years that Larry can never get back were more valuable than the extra money he invested. This is why it is so critically important to start now. Not next year, not when you get a raise, not when you pay off your debt. Now, even if you can only start with a tiny amount. The simple action for this chapter is to automate a small amount, even just $25 a week, to be transferred to a separate savings or investment account. Why such a small amount? Because the goal right now is not to get rich overnight. The goal is to build the machine and turn the engine on. The goal is to build the habit. Once the automatic system is in place, you can easily increase the amount over time as your income grows or your expenses decrease. But you must start. You must get your money into the game and let the incredible power of time and compounding start working for you. Your automatic wealth machine is your path to freedom. It is the system that will allow you to build wealth without constant effort, without relying on a fickle and finite supply of willpower. It automates the golden rule: spend less than you earn and invest the surplus wisely. It combines the ancient wisdom of paying yourself first with modern technology. It uses a simple, proven, and low-cost investment strategy that has been endorsed by the world's greatest investors, and it is fueled by the unstoppable force of compound growth. Building this machine is the single most impactful action you can take to secure your financial future. It will take you less than an hour to set up, but it will pay you dividends for the rest of your life. Do not wait. Become the architect of your financial destiny and build your machine today. Chapter 5. Thinking like an investor. Overcoming fear and taking smart risks. In the last chapter, we built the machine. We created a powerful automated system to save and invest your money consistently. We have the what and the how of the mechanics down. But now we must address the most volatile, unpredictable, and potentially destructive element in your entire financial plan: the human being operating the machine. We need to talk about you. Specifically, we need to talk about your mind when it comes under pressure. Because building the machine is one thing, but having the emotional fortitude to leave it alone and let it do its work, especially when the world feels like it's falling apart, is a completely different challenge. This chapter is about upgrading your internal software. It's about moving from the mindset of a nervous saver to the mindset of a confident, long-term investor. It's about learning to master the twin demons of finance: fear and greed. Let's be clear, investing is not a purely logical activity. If it were, it would be easy. You would just buy your index funds, set up your automatic contributions, and never think about it again. But our brains were not designed in a sterile, logical laboratory. They were forged on the hot, dangerous plains of the Serengeti. Our brains are ancient survival machines, hardwired with powerful emotional responses that were excellent for helping our ancestors avoid being eaten by saber-toothed tigers, but are absolutely terrible for making rational financial decisions in the 21st century. The part of your brain that makes you jump back from a snake in the grass is the same part of your brain that makes you want to sell all of your investments when you see a scary headline on the news. This emotional, primal brain is your greatest enemy as an investor. The single most destructive emotion you will face is fear, specifically the fear of loss. In the world of behavioral economics, there is a Nobel Prize-winning concept called loss aversion, discovered by psychologists Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky. What they found through numerous experiments is that for the human brain, the pain of losing something is psychologically about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining the exact same thing. Losing $100 feels twice as bad as finding $100 feels good. This is a profound insight. It means that your brain is hardwired to be overly cautious and to react much more strongly to negative news than to positive news. Think about how this plays out in the real world. The stock market is going up steadily for 3 years. Most people feel calm, maybe a little pleased, but they don't feel an intense, overwhelming emotion. Then one day the market drops 10% in a week. Suddenly the fear circuits in their brains light up like a Christmas tree. The news channels switch to market in turmoil graphics, with scary red arrows pointing down. Pundits come on to predict the next Great Depression. your primal brain starts screaming, "Danger, predator, get out now, sell everything before it goes to zero." This is the moment of maximum danger for the untrained investor. This is the moment when people capitulate to their fear, sell their well-designed portfolios at the bottom of the market, and lock in their losses. They turn a temporary on-paper decline into a permanent real-world loss of capital. This, more than anything else, is why most people fail at investing. They buy high, fueled by greed when everyone is euphoric, and they sell low, crippled by fear when everyone is panicking. The successful investor must learn to do the exact opposite. So, how do we conquer this deep-seated fear? The first step is to reframe your understanding of risk. Most people think that the biggest risk in investing is losing money in a market crash. They believe that the safe option is to keep their money in cash, tucked away in a savings account at the bank. This is one of the most dangerous financial myths in existence. While keeping your money in cash protects you from market volatility, it exposes you to a much more certain and insidious risk, the risk of inflation. Inflation is the silent thief that slowly and relentlessly erodes the purchasing power of your money year after year. Let's say inflation is running at 3% per year. If you have $100,000 sitting in a savings account earning virtually zero interest, in 1 year, that money will still be $100,000, but it will only be able to buy what $97,000 could have bought the year before. You have lost $3,000 in real-world purchasing power without ever seeing your account balance go down. Over 20 years, that $100,000 would lose nearly half of its value. The safe option of holding cash is actually a guaranteed loss. The biggest risk is not taking enough risk to outpace inflation and grow your wealth. The intelligent investor understands this. They accept that short-term volatility is the price of admission for long-term growth. They see market downturns not as a crisis, but as an opportunity. Think about it this way. Imagine you love to buy clothes at your favorite store. One day you walk by and see a sign in the window. Everything in the store is now 30% off. What would you do? Would you panic, run away, and vow never to shop there again? Of course not. You would be excited. You would rush into the store to buy the things you already wanted at a massive discount. A stock market correction is the exact same thing. It is a sale on the world's greatest companies. The shares of Apple, of Microsoft, of the entire S&P 500 are now on sale. The investor who has conquered their fear sees this as the single best time to be buying, not selling. They stick to their automated investment plan, and perhaps even invest a little extra if they can, knowing that every dollar they invest during a downturn is buying more shares, more ownership in great businesses than it could a month before. This mindset shift, from seeing a downturn as a threat to seeing it as an opportunity, is the master skill of investing. As Warren Buffett famously said, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." This leads us to a crucial distinction, the difference between a calculated risk and a pure gamble. A millionaire mindset is not about being reckless. It is about being brilliant at evaluating and taking smart, calculated risks. A gamble is putting money on an outcome where the odds are stacked against you and you have no real information or edge. Buying a lottery ticket is a gamble. Betting on a single unproven meme stock because you saw it being hyped on an online forum is a gamble. You are hoping for a lucky break. A calculated risk, on the other hand, is an investment. It is putting money into a situation where, based on historical data, logic, and a long-term perspective, the odds of a positive outcome are overwhelmingly in your favor. Investing in a diversified, low-cost index fund is a calculated risk. Why? 1. You are not betting on a single company. You are betting on the collective ingenuity and profitability of the 500 largest companies in America. 2. You have over 100 years of historical data, showing that while the market is volatile in the short term, the long-term trajectory has always been upward. Over any given 20-year period in its history, the S&P 500 has never lost money. 3. You have the tailwind of economic growth and innovation at your back. As long as you believe that human beings will continue to innovate, solve problems, and create value, you should be optimistic about the long-term prospects of the stock market. You are not hoping for luck. You are making a calculated bet on human progress. This is the kind of risk that millionaires take. They avoid gambles, but they embrace intelligent, calculated risks because they know that is where the rewards are found. The ultimate weapon in your arsenal against fear and emotional decision-making is adopting a true long-game mentality. Your time frame as an investor is your superpower. The financial media and Wall Street want you to think in terms of days, weeks, and months. They want you to be constantly trading, reacting to every news story, because that is how they make money from fees and commissions. You must resist this. You are not a trader. You are a long-term investor. You are not buying stocks for next week. You are buying them for the next decade. The legendary investor Benjamin Graham, Warren Buffett's mentor, offered a brilliant analogy to help with this. He said to imagine that you are partners in a business with a very emotional man named Mr. Market. Every single day, Mr. Market comes to your office and offers to either buy your shares in the business or sell you his. The thing about Mr. Market is that he is a manic depressive. Some days he is euphoric. He sees nothing but a rosy future and offers to buy your shares at a ridiculously high price. On other days he is inconsolably pessimistic. He is convinced the business and the world are doomed, and he offers to sell you his shares at an absurdly low price. The beauty of this partnership is that you are under no obligation to trade with him. You can completely ignore him. When he is euphoric and offering high prices, you can just smile and say no thanks. When he is despondent and offering you a bargain, that is your opportunity to buy. The mistake that most people make is that they let Mr. Market's mood dictate their own. When he is panicking, they panic. When he is greedy, they get greedy. The wise investor uses Mr. Market's emotional swings to their advantage, but never succumbs to them. The daily fluctuations of the stock market, the talking heads on television, the scary headlines, this is all just the noise of Mr. Market's daily mood swings. Your job is to tune it out. How do you do this practically? First, stop checking your investment portfolio every day. It is the single worst thing you can do for your financial health. The daily movements are almost entirely random noise. Checking it constantly is like weighing yourself every 5 minutes while you are on a diet. It will only drive you crazy and tempt you to make stupid decisions. Check your portfolio once a quarter, or even once every 6 months. Your focus should be on your savings rate and your automatic contributions, the things you can actually control. Second, curate your information diet. Unfollow the fear-mongering financial news outlets. Instead, read books by legendary long-term investors like John Bogle, Benjamin Graham, and Warren Buffett. Fill your mind with wisdom, not noise. Third, and most importantly, trust the system you built in the last chapter. You created an automatic wealth machine for a reason. It is designed to work without your interference. Your job is to let it work. Finally, we must talk about failure. At some point in your investing journey, you will make a mistake. You might buy an individual stock that goes down. You might get tempted by a hot new investment that doesn't pan out. Every single successful investor on the planet has made mistakes. The difference between those who succeed and those who quit is how they frame those mistakes. A person with a poor mindset sees a mistake as a final verdict. I'm terrible at this. Investing is not for me. So I quit. They see it as a failure. A person with a millionaire mindset sees a mistake as a learning opportunity. They see it as tuition paid to the school of real-world experience. They ask themselves, what is the lesson here? What did I learn from this that will make me a better investor in the future? The lesson might be, don't invest in things you don't fully understand, or stick to your simple index fund strategy, or don't let greed override your good judgment. Failure, when viewed this way, is not the opposite of success. It is a stepping stone on the path to success. Embrace your mistakes, learn from them, and move forward with more wisdom than you had before. To put all of this into action, I want you to complete the simple but powerful exercise for this chapter. Take out your journal. At the top of the page, write down your single biggest financial fear. Be specific. Is it the fear of losing everything in a market crash? The fear of not having enough for retirement? The fear of a medical emergency bankrupting you? Now, underneath that fear, I want you to list 3 concrete, actionable steps you could take to mitigate that fear. If your fear is a market crash, your actions might be 1. Remind myself that my portfolio is highly diversified and I am invested for the next 30 years. 2. Write down a commitment to not sell anything during a downturn and to continue my automatic investments. 3. Read a chapter from a book on long-term investing to reinforce my strategy. If your fear is not having enough for retirement, your actions could be: 1. Use an online retirement calculator to see if I'm on track. 2. Find one expense in my budget I can cut to increase my savings rate by 1%. 3. Spend 1 hour researching ways to start a small side income. Do you see what this exercise does? It takes a vague, paralyzing fear and transforms it into a concrete plan of action. Knowledge and planning are the ultimate antidotes to fear. Thinking like an investor is not about being a genius stock picker. It is about being a master of your own emotions. It is about understanding that the biggest risks are often the ones you can't see, like inflation. It is about having the courage to take smart, calculated risks while avoiding foolish gambles. It is about cultivating the patience and discipline to play the long game, ignoring the daily noise and focusing on the distant horizon. And it is about having the resilience to learn from your mistakes and keep moving forward. Master this internal game, and you will not only survive the inevitable ups and downs of the market, you will thrive because of them. You will have built not just an external machine for wealth, but an internal mindset of steel that cannot be broken. Chapter 6. Your network is your net worth. The power of association. Up to this point, our journey has been largely an internal one. We have rewired our mindset, designed our personal blueprint, built our automated financial engine, and fortified our emotional resilience. We have done the essential work of becoming the kind of person who is capable of building and sustaining wealth. But now we must turn our attention outward. We must acknowledge a profound and often underestimated truth about success. It is not a solo sport. No great fortune, no great enterprise, no great life was ever built in a vacuum. The people you surround yourself with will either be the wind in your sails, propelling you forward faster than you could ever move alone, or they will be the anchor dragging you to the bottom of the sea. There is no in-between. The legendary speaker and author Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." This is not a clever aphorism. It is a law of human nature as real and as powerful as gravity. This chapter is about learning to consciously and deliberately architect your social and professional circle, transforming it from a random group of acquaintances into a powerful personal board of directors dedicated to your growth and success. This is how you unlock the exponential power of your network. Let's begin by dissecting why that simple quote from Jim Rohn holds so much power. It's not magic, it's science. Our brains are equipped with a fascinating set of neurons known as mirror neurons. These are the cells in our brain that fire not only when we perform an action, but also when we observe someone else performing that same action. They are the foundation of empathy, of learning by observation, and of social bonding. When you spend time with people, you are, on a deep neurological level, mirroring them. You subconsciously absorb their patterns of speech, their body language, their attitudes, their beliefs, and most importantly for our purposes, their habits. This is a phenomenon known as emotional contagion or behavioral mimicry. It's a survival mechanism. Our ancestors needed to quickly adopt the norms of their tribe to be accepted and protected. In the modern world, this same mechanism is still running, shaping your destiny in ways you are likely not even aware of. Consider the financial implications of this. If the 5 people you spend the most time with are constantly complaining about their jobs, drowning in debt, and believe that wealth is a matter of luck or dishonesty, what kind of behaviors and beliefs are you mirroring? When they talk about money, the conversation is likely filled with stress, anxiety, and a sense of victimhood. Their solution to a bad day is often retail therapy or an expensive night out. When you suggest starting a side business or investing in the stock market, they might look at you with skepticism or even ridicule, saying things like, "That's too risky," or "Only rich people can do that." Spending your time in this environment is like trying to stay dry in a rainstorm without an umbrella. Their scarcity mindset will inevitably soak into your own, dampening your ambition and normalizing financial mediocrity. It becomes incredibly difficult to maintain the abundance mindset we worked so hard to build in Chapter 1 when you are surrounded by a chorus of lack and limitation. Your standards for what is possible begin to drop to meet the standards of the group. Now, let's paint a different picture. Imagine your 5 closest associates are people who are excited about their work, who are actively managing their finances, who read books on personal growth and investing. When they get together, the conversations are about opportunities, not obstacles. They talk about new business ideas, about investment strategies, about skills they are learning. When one person has a success, the group celebrates it genuinely, seeing it as proof of what is possible for everyone. If you mention you are starting a side business, they don't respond with skepticism. They respond with questions like, "That's amazing. How can we help?" Or, "Have you spoken to my friend who did something similar?" In this environment, your ambition is not just accepted, it is expected. Your mirror neurons are firing in a completely different way. You start to absorb their habits of discipline, their belief in possibility, and their proactive approach to life. Your standards are constantly being pulled upwards by the gravitational force of the group. This is the difference between swimming upstream against a powerful current and being carried forward by a tidal wave of positive momentum. The first and perhaps most uncomfortable step in harnessing this power is to conduct a fearless and honest audit of your current 5 people. This is a private exercise, one that requires radical honesty with yourself. Take out your journal. Write down the names of the 5 people outside of your immediate household with whom you spend the most time and have the most significant conversations. This could be friends, co-workers, or family members. Now, next to each name, I want you to answer a few simple questions. Be objective, like a scientist studying a subject. 1. What is this person's general attitude towards life? Are they optimistic and proactive, or are they pessimistic and reactive? 2. How do they talk about money? Is it a tool for growth and freedom, or a source of stress and limitation? 3. What are their habits? Are they focused on learning, growing, and building, or are they focused on consumption, comfort, and distraction? 4. When you leave a conversation with this person, how do you feel? Do you feel energized, inspired, and more capable? Or do you feel drained, discouraged, and smaller? This exercise can be a wake-up call. You may realize that some of the people you are closest to are acting as anchors on your ambition. This brings us to a difficult question. What do you do about it? Let me be clear. This is not about being ruthless and callously cutting people out of your life, especially if they are close friends or family. It is about becoming a conscious manager of your time and emotional energy. You may not be able to change who your family is, but you can change how much of their negative financial narrative you allow yourself to be exposed to. It might mean having shorter conversations, or gently steering the topic away from complaints about money and towards more positive subjects. With friends, it might mean choosing activities that are more aligned with your goals. Instead of going to the mall, suggest a hike. Instead of a night at an expensive bar, suggest a potluck dinner where you can have a real conversation. The most powerful strategy, however, is not subtraction but addition. Your primary focus should be on proactively seeking out and adding people to your life who embody the qualities you wish to cultivate. You must consciously find a new 5 people to model yourself after. This doesn't mean you replace your old friends, it means you expand your circle. You start to build your own personal board of directors. Think about it. Every successful company has a board of directors, a group of wise, experienced people who provide guidance, challenge assumptions, and hold the CEO accountable. Why shouldn't you have one for the most important enterprise of all, your life? This brings us to the critical role of mentors. A mentor is someone who is further along the path you want to walk. They have already navigated the terrain, avoided the pitfalls, and found the shortcuts. Learning from a mentor is like being given a map to a hidden treasure, saving you years and sometimes decades of wandering in the wilderness. The knowledge a mentor can impart in a single 1-hour conversation can be more valuable than reading 100 books. They can provide specific contextual advice tailored to your unique situation. They can open doors to their own network, introducing you to people and opportunities you would never have access to on your own. Finding a mentor is one of the greatest accelerators of success that exists. So how do you find one? The world is full of potential mentors, but they are not just waiting around to be discovered. You must be proactive. The first place to look is in your immediate environment. Is there a senior person at your company or in your industry whose career path you deeply admire? Is there a local business owner who has built the kind of life you aspire to? Start by studying them from a distance. Read their articles, listen to their interviews, understand their philosophy. The second source is the world of virtual mentors. Thanks to the internet, you can be mentored by the greatest minds in the world. You can read Warren Buffett's shareholder letters, listen to podcasts with brilliant entrepreneurs, and watch lectures from Nobel Prize-winning scientists. You can absorb their wisdom and their way of thinking without ever meeting them. You should be actively curating a list of virtual mentors whose ideas and values resonate with you. But to truly accelerate your growth, you need to find a real, flesh and blood mentor. The key to approaching a potential mentor is to understand that they are busy, successful people. Their most valuable asset is their time. The biggest mistake people make is to send a vague, needy email that says something like, "I really admire you. Will you be my mentor?" This is a terrifying question for a busy person. It sounds like an enormous, undefined commitment. It places all the burden on them. You must flip the script. Your approach should be specific, respectful of their time, and focused on giving value first. Here is a simple, proven strategy. First, identify a specific question you want to ask them, a question that demonstrates you have done your homework and cannot be easily answered with a Google search. Second, find a way to offer them value. This could be as simple as sharing their work with a thoughtful comment on social media, writing a positive review for their book, or sending them an article you think they would find genuinely interesting, with a note saying, "I saw this and thought of your work on X." After you have given value, you can then make your request. Your email could look something like this. "Dear Name, I've been following your work for some time and was particularly inspired by your thoughts on specific topic. I am currently working on your project and am facing a specific challenge with your specific problem. I know you have extensive experience in this area. I know how valuable your time is, but I was wondering if I could borrow just 15 minutes of your expertise to ask you 2 pointed questions about this challenge. I would be happy to buy you a coffee, or we could do a quick call at your convenience. Either way, thank you for the incredible work you do." This approach is powerful for several reasons. It is specific. It is respectful of their time. 15 minutes is an easy yes. It demonstrates that you are an action taker, not just a dreamer. And it positions them as the expert, which is a flattering position to be in. Even if they say no, you have been respectful and professional. But you will be surprised how often a request like this is met with a yes. That one 15-minute conversation could change the entire trajectory of your career. While a one-on-one mentorship is powerful, there is another structure that can be even more transformative: the mastermind group. The concept was first introduced by Napoleon Hill in his legendary 1937 book, Think and Grow Rich. He defined a mastermind as the coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between 2 or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. A mastermind is, in essence, a peer-to-peer mentorship group. It is a small, curated group of individuals, typically 4 to 6 people, who are all committed to their own growth and to the growth of the other members. They meet on a regular basis, perhaps every 2 weeks or once a month, to hold each other accountable, brainstorm solutions to challenges, and share resources and connections. The power of a mastermind group is almost magical. When you bring together a group of intelligent, motivated minds and focus them on a single problem, you create a third mind that is far more powerful and creative than any of the individual minds. You get to borrow the experience, the knowledge, and the network of every single person in the room. Someone in the group will have faced the exact problem you are struggling with and can give you the solution. Another person will know the exact person you need to talk to move your project forward. The group also provides an incredible source of accountability. When you declare a goal to your mastermind group, you are far more likely to follow through because you don't want to be the person who shows up at the next meeting, having made no progress. It forces you to stay in action. How do you form such a group? Start by identifying 3 to 5 people in your life who you respect. They don't need to be in the same profession as you. In fact, diversity of experience often makes the group stronger. The key criteria are that they must be positive, reliable, ambitious, and willing to both give and receive honest feedback. Approach them with the idea. Frame it as a small, committed group to help each other achieve big goals. Set a simple structure for your meetings. A good structure is to have each person take a turn in the hot seat. For 20 to 30 minutes, that person has the floor. They can present a challenge they are facing, an opportunity they are considering, or just provide an update on their goals. The rest of the group's job is to listen deeply and then offer their best advice, connections, and support. Forming or joining a mastermind group can be one of the most powerful decisions of your life. It is like having a personal board of directors, a team of unpaid consultants, and a circle of your biggest cheerleaders, all rolled into one. This brings us to the core philosophy that must underpin all of your networking efforts. The golden rule that separates the master networker from the annoying schmoozer. It is this: you must always seek to give value before you ever think about getting value. Most people approach networking with a taker mentality. They walk into a room thinking, who here can help me? What can I get from these people? This energy is repulsive. People can feel it a mile away, and they will put up their defenses. The master networker walks into a room with a giver mentality. They think, how can I help the people in this room? Who can I connect? What knowledge can I share? This energy is magnetic. It draws people in. The author Adam Grant, in his brilliant book Give and Take, identified 3 types of people: takers, who are always trying to get more than they give; matchers, who operate on a principle of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours; and givers, who contribute to others without any expectation of immediate return. His research overwhelmingly showed that while some givers get taken advantage of, the most successful people across a wide range of fields are the givers. They build a vast reservoir of goodwill that comes back to them in unexpected and powerful ways. You might be thinking, but I'm just starting out, I don't have any value to give. This is a limiting belief. You have more value to offer than you realize. Value is not just about money or high-level connections. You can give value in countless ways. You can give the value of your attention by being a fantastic, present listener, something that is incredibly rare in our distracted world. You can give the value of appreciation by sending a follow-up email after a conversation, saying how much you enjoyed it, or by publicly praising someone's work. You can give the value of your knowledge by sharing a book or an article that you think would be helpful to someone. You can give the value of your network, even if it's small, by connecting 2 people you know who might be able to help each other. You can give the value of your specific skills, no matter how modest you think they are. Every act of giving, no matter how small, plants a seed. You are not a hunter trying to bag a prize. You are a farmer, patiently cultivating a field of relationships that will nourish you for a lifetime. To make this practical, I want you to take on the Give First challenge for the next week. Your mission is to consciously provide value to 3 different people in your network. This could be a co-worker, a former colleague, or someone you met at an event. The only rule is that you cannot ask for anything in return. Find an interesting article relevant to their industry and send it to them. Introduce 2 of your LinkedIn contacts who share a common interest. See a post about a project they are proud of and share it with your own network with a glowing comment. This simple exercise will begin to rewire your brain to think like a giver. It will shift your entire approach to networking from something that feels selfish and transactional to something that feels generous and meaningful. Your network is a living asset. It needs to be nurtured, curated, and cultivated. It requires you to be brave enough to distance yourself from negative influences, proactive enough to seek out mentors and mastermind groups, and generous enough to always lead with value. The work you do in this area will pay you dividends that are impossible to measure. The right conversation with the right person at the right time can change everything. It can lead to a job offer, a business partnership, an investment opportunity, or a piece of advice that saves you years of struggle. Your net worth is not just the money in your bank account. It is the sum total of the relationships you have built and the goodwill you have generated. Start building that true wealth today. Chapter 7. The Learning Machine. Why the Rich Never Stop Learning. In our journey so far, we have built a powerful external scaffolding for success. We have the mindset, the goals, the automated systems, and the supportive network. But the most magnificent skyscraper is only as strong as the materials from which it is built. In the 21st century, the single most valuable material you possess, the core asset from which all other wealth flows, is the knowledge stored between your ears. Your greatest asset is not your house, your car, or even your investment portfolio. It is your mind, and the process of continually upgrading and improving that asset is the single most important habit of the wealthy. While the average person stops actively learning the day they leave school, the wealthy and successful understand that their education has only just begun. They are not just earners or investors, they are perpetual learning machines. This chapter is about how to build and operate your own learning machine, how to make lifelong education your most cherished habit, and how to transform your mind into the most powerful income-generating asset you will ever own. Let's begin by dismantling a dangerous and outdated idea. The idea that your education is a finite period in your life. We are raised with a model that looks like this. You learn for the first 20-some years of your life, then you take that knowledge and you work for the next 40 years, and then you retire. This model is a relic of the industrial age, an era of stability and predictability. In that world, the skills you learned in your 20s could reliably serve you for your entire career. That world no longer exists. We now live in an age of exponential change. The skills that are highly valuable today may be obsolete in 10 years, or even 5. Technology is advancing at a breathtaking pace, creating entire new industries while simultaneously rendering old ones irrelevant. The concept of job security is a fantasy. Your only true security in this new economy is your ability to learn, adapt, and reinvent yourself. Your security is not in your job title, but in your human capital. Human capital is the economic value of your skills, your knowledge, and your experiences. It is an intangible asset, but it is the most valuable one you have. Think of it like a bank account. A formal education gives you your starting deposit. But from that point on, you are solely responsible for making continued deposits. Every new skill you learn, every book you read, every new piece of knowledge you acquire is a deposit into your human capital account. And just like a financial account, this account can also experience the magic of compounding. The more you learn, the easier it becomes to learn new things. Knowledge connects to other knowledge, creating a latticework of understanding in your mind that allows you to see patterns and opportunities that others miss. A person who reads one book on a topic has a single perspective. A person who reads 10 books on that same topic has a three-dimensional, nuanced understanding that is far more than 10 times as valuable. The world's most successful people understand this intuitively. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men on the planet, reportedly spends up to 80% of his day reading and thinking. When asked about the key to his success, he once pointed to a stack of books and said, "Read 500 pages like this every day." That's how knowledge works. It builds up, like compound interest. All of you can do it, but I guarantee not many of you will do it. His business partner, Charlie Munger, famously said, "In my whole life, I have known no wise people over a broad subject matter who didn't read all the time. None. Zero." Bill Gates is a famously voracious reader, taking a Think Week twice a year, where he does nothing but read books and study new topics. This is not a coincidence. They know that the more they learn, the better their decisions will be. And the quality of your decisions ultimately determines the quality of your life and your finances. They are not just investing their money, they are relentlessly investing in themselves. This brings us to one of the most important reframes you can make. You must stop seeing education as an expense and start seeing it as the single highest return investment available to you. Think about it in pure financial terms. Let's say you spend $1,000 on a course that teaches you a valuable skill, like digital marketing or sales copywriting. You then use that skill to start a small side business that brings in an extra $500 a month. That's $6,000 in the first year alone. Your $1,000 investment yielded a $6,000 return. That is a 600% return on investment in 1 year. Where else can you find returns like that? The stock market's historical average is around 10%. Investing in yourself has a nearly unlimited upside. A single idea from a $20 book can be the spark for a multi-million-dollar business. A weekend seminar that costs $2,000 might introduce you to a business partner who changes your life. The return on self-investment is not linear, it is exponential. So how do we practically build our learning machine? How do we make this a consistent, non-negotiable part of our lives? It starts by creating a system. Just as we automated our finances, we need to create a structure for our learning. The first step is to create a knowledge budget. This is a dedicated portion of your income that is allocated every single month exclusively for your own education and growth. This is not part of your entertainment budget. This is an investment. It doesn't have to be a large amount. It could be $50 a month. It could be $20 a month. That's enough for 1 or 2 life-changing books. The amount is less important than the consistency. By creating a budget line item for it, you are telling yourself that your growth is a priority, just like your rent or your electricity bill. It is a non-negotiable investment in your greatest asset. Once you have your budget, you need to decide what to invest it in. There are many vehicles for learning, and a well-rounded learning machine uses several of them. The foundation, as endorsed by Buffett and Gates, is books. Books are the greatest bargain in the history of the world. For the price of a couple of coffees, you get access to a master's entire lifetime of experience, distilled down into its most important lessons. A good non-fiction book is a shortcut that can save you years of trial and error. You should aim to be a reader. If you think you don't have time to read, I challenge you to track your screen time on your phone for 1 week. The average person spends hours per day on social media and streaming services. If you were to redirect just 30 minutes of that time each day to reading, you could easily read 1 to 2 books a month. That's 12 to 24 books a year. Imagine how much more knowledgeable you would be in 5 years if you read 100 new books on finance, business, psychology, and skill building. The transformation would be staggering. Beyond books, we live in a golden age of online learning. Websites like Coursera, EDX, Udemy, and Skillshare offer courses from the world's top universities and experts on virtually any subject imaginable, often for a very low cost. You can learn to code, to become a graphic designer, to understand financial modeling, or to speak a new language, all from your own home. This is the democratization of education. It is no longer reserved for those who can afford a prestigious university. Anyone with an internet connection can acquire the skills needed to thrive in the modern economy. Another powerful tool for your learning machine is the use of what speaker Brian Tracy calls net time, which stands for no extra time. This is the time you spend commuting, doing chores, or working out. For most people, this is dead time, but it can be transformed into learning time through audiobooks and podcasts. By listening to educational content during these periods, you can effectively get a university-level education while you drive to work. This simple habit can add hundreds of hours of learning to your year without requiring you to find a single extra minute in your schedule. Finally, do not underestimate the power of immersive, in-person learning through seminars, workshops, and conferences. While these can be more expensive, the focused environment, the direct access to experts, and the networking opportunities with other motivated learners can provide a massive return on investment. The key is to build a diversified learning portfolio, using a mix of these different methods to constantly feed your mind with new information and new skills. However, and this is the most important part of this entire chapter, consuming information is not the same as learning. This is a critical distinction that most people miss. We live in an age of information overload. It is easy to become an infovore, constantly consuming articles, podcasts, and videos, feeling productive, but never actually changing your behavior or your results. This is what I call intellectual entertainment. It feels good, but it doesn't lead to growth. Real learning only happens when information is translated into action. Knowledge that is not applied is useless. It is like owning a garage full of high-performance tools that you never take out of the box. The goal of your learning machine is not just to acquire knowledge, but to apply it. So, how do we bridge the massive gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it? We need to install a new set of operating principles into our learning machine, an action-oriented software. The first principle is to shift from just-in-case learning to just-in-time learning. Just-in-case learning is the traditional academic model. You learn a huge amount of information just in case you might need it someday. Just-in-time learning is much more effective. It means you focus your learning on a specific problem you are trying to solve or a specific goal you are trying to achieve right now. Are you trying to get a promotion? Focus your learning on the specific skills your boss values most. Are you trying to start a side business? Focus your learning on sales and marketing. This approach creates an immediate feedback loop. You learn something, you apply it right away, and you see the results. This makes the learning stick and builds momentum. The second principle is to implement what I call the 24-hour action rule. After you finish a chapter of a book, listen to a podcast, or watch a lesson in an online course, you must take one small physical action related to what you just learned within the next 24 hours. This action could be as simple as drafting an email, making a phone call, writing down a plan, or trying out a new technique. The purpose of this rule is to break the cycle of passive consumption. It takes the idea out of the abstract realm of your mind and grounds it in the physical reality of your life. It creates a bridge from theory to practice. The third and perhaps most powerful principle for turning information into deep understanding is to use the Feynman technique, named after the Nobel Prize-winning physicist Richard Feynman, who was a master at understanding and explaining complex topics. The technique is simple. 1. Choose a concept you want to understand. 2. Try to explain it to a child, or simply pretend you are. Use simple language, simple analogies, and no jargon. 3. Identify the gaps in your explanation. Where did you struggle? Where did you have to use complex terms? This is where your understanding is weak. 4. Go back to the source material and fill in those gaps until you can explain the concept simply and elegantly. This process forces you to move beyond shallow memorization to true comprehension. The act of teaching is one of the most powerful forms of learning. A great way to apply this is to find a learning partner or to use your mastermind group. After you read a great book, your goal should be to explain the 3 most important ideas to your group in a way that is simple and actionable for them. To systematize this process of application, I want you to adopt one final habit. For every non-fiction book you read, I want you to create a 1-page action summary. Do not just highlight passages. That is a passive activity. At the end of the book, take out a blank sheet of paper. At the top, write the title of the book and the author. Then, write 3 headings: Big Idea 1, Big Idea 2, and Big Idea 3. Under each heading, summarize, in your own words, one of the core concepts of the book. Finally, and most importantly, create a final section at the bottom titled My Action Items. In this section, you will write down 3 to 5 specific, concrete actions you are going to take to apply the lessons of this book to your own life, your business, or your finances. This simple 1-page document is more valuable than 100 highlighted passages. It is your personal blueprint for turning the wisdom of the book into real-world results. To make this immediately practical, let's complete the simple action for this chapter. Right now, I want you to choose one financial topic that you know you should understand better, but that has always felt a little intimidating. It could be understanding the difference between a stock and a bond, learning about real estate investing, or figuring out what cryptocurrency actually is. Your assignment is to dedicate just 30 minutes each day for the next 7 days to learning the absolute basics of that one topic. You can use YouTube, Investopedia.com, or a library book. The goal is not to become an expert. The goal is to prove to yourself that you can learn anything if you break it down into small, consistent steps. The goal is to fire up your learning machine. Your commitment to lifelong learning is the ultimate expression of the abundance mindset. It is a declaration that you believe your potential is not fixed, that your future can be bigger than your past, and that you are the primary creative force in your own life. The world will not stop changing, so you must not stop learning. Your learning machine is the engine that will keep you adaptable, valuable, and ultimately wealthy. It is the investment that no market crash can ever wipe out. It is the asset that will continue to compound and pay you dividends for the rest of your life. Turn it on today and never, ever let it shut down. Chapter 8. Beyond the 9 to 5, Building Multiple Streams of Income. We have spent the last several chapters building a fortress. We have fortified your mind, drawn up your strategic blueprint, engineered an automated machine to build your wealth, and trained you in the psychological warfare of investing. You are now equipped to play a phenomenal game of financial defense and a solid, consistent game of offense within the established rules. Your 9 to 5 job is your primary offensive player, the star quarterback bringing in the yardage week after week. Your automated investing is your reliable running back, consistently pushing the ball forward. But what if I told you that the truly wealthy don't just play with one quarterback? What if they had players on the field who could score points from every conceivable angle at any time of day or night? This is the reality of the multi-stream income strategy. This chapter is about moving beyond the single-player model of the traditional career path and learning how to build a team of income streams that work for you. It's about diversifying your earning potential to create a level of security and wealth acceleration that a single job, no matter how high-paying, can never provide. Let's start with a simple but powerful metaphor. Imagine your financial life is a sturdy wooden table. A single high-paying job is like a table with one thick, strong leg right in the center. It feels stable. It can hold a lot of weight. You can eat at it, work on it, and rely on it every single day. For years, everything might be perfectly fine. But what happens if that one leg gets a crack? What if it gets kicked out from under you unexpectedly? The entire table and everything on it comes crashing to the ground in a catastrophic instant. This is the hidden, terrifying risk that millions of people are living with every single day, completely unaware. They have placed their entire financial well-being, their family's security, and their future dreams on one single vulnerable leg. This isn't theoretical fear-mongering. This is the reality of the modern economy. The concept of a job for life, where you join a company and stay there for 40 years until you get a gold watch and a pension, is a black and white photograph from a bygone era. Today, that single leg is more fragile than ever before. It is under assault from multiple directions. First, there are economic shifts. A recession can lead to mass layoffs, as we have seen time and time again. Your company might be perfectly healthy, but if the broader economy contracts, you can become a line item on a spreadsheet that needs to be cut. Industries that were once titans can be disrupted into oblivion by new technology. Think of the video rental store, the taxi medallion owner, or the newspaper printer. Second, there is the relentless march of technology and automation. Artificial intelligence and robotics are not science fiction. They are actively reshaping the labor market. Jobs that involve repetitive tasks are increasingly being automated, and this trend will only accelerate. Your value in the marketplace is directly tied to your ability to do things that a machine cannot. Third, there are simple corporate changes. Your company could be acquired in a merger, and the new parent company might decide your entire department is redundant. You could get a new boss who, for whatever reason, doesn't value your contribution. Your position could simply be eliminated as part of a strategic reorganization. Finally, there are personal life events. You could face a health crisis that prevents you from working in your chosen field. A family member might get sick, requiring you to take on a caregiver role that limits your hours. Relying on a single paycheck is the financial equivalent of playing Russian roulette with your future. You are making a bet that none of these things will ever happen to you. The wealthy are not gamblers. As we discussed in Chapter 5, they are masters of taking calculated risks, but they are also experts at mitigating and eliminating unnecessary risks. And having a single source of income is one of the biggest unforced errors you can make. The research backs this up definitively. The author Tom Corley, in his multi-year study of the habits of self-made millionaires, found that a staggering 65% of them had at least 3 streams of income. Chris Hogan, author of Everyday Millionaires, conducted the largest study of millionaires ever, surveying over 10,000 of them, and found a similar pattern of diversified income. They understand that true financial security does not come from a job. It comes from having multiple independent sources of cash flow. If one stream dries up, they have several others to support them while they build a new one. Their table has 4, 5, or even 7 legs. Kick one out and the table barely wobbles. Before we dive into the practical how-to of building these streams, we must first address the enormous psychological barrier that holds most people back. It is the mindset shift from being a pure employee to thinking like an entrepreneur. The employee mindset has been drilled into us since we were children in school. We are taught to follow instructions, to complete the assigned tasks, to wait for permission, and to receive a predictable reward, a grade, then a paycheck, at a set interval. In this model, our income is determined by someone else. We trade a fixed amount of our time for a fixed amount of money. The entrepreneur, on the other hand, operates from a completely different set of principles. An entrepreneur does not trade time for money. An entrepreneur solves problems for money. They identify a pain point, a need or a desire in the marketplace, and create a solution. Their income is not tied to the hours they clock in. It is tied to the amount of value they create and the number of people they serve. This shift is terrifying for many people because it involves taking on responsibility. As an employee, if the company's product doesn't sell, it's not directly your fault. As an entrepreneur, if your product doesn't sell, you don't eat. This fear paralyzes people. It manifests in a series of common limiting beliefs. I don't have a big revolutionary idea. I'm not an expert in anything. I don't have the time. I don't have the money to start. Let's dismantle these myths one by one. First, I don't have a big idea. You do not need to invent the next iPhone to build a successful side income stream. Most successful businesses are not based on revolutionary ideas, but on the flawless execution of a simple existing idea. Your goal is not to change the world with your first side hustle. Your goal is to solve a small problem for a specific group of people. Second, I'm not an expert. You don't need to be the world's foremost authority on a topic. You just need to know a little bit more than the people you are trying to help. This is the concept of the expert enough. If you know how to set up a simple website, you are an expert to the small business owner who has no idea where to start. If you are good at meal prepping, you are an expert to the busy professional who eats takeout every night. Third, I don't have time. As we discussed in the chapter on learning, you do have time. The average person has hours of it that are currently being invested in low-value activities like scrolling social media or binge-watching television. The question is not whether you have time, but whether you are willing to reallocate it towards your future freedom. Finally, I don't have money to start. In the past, starting a business required a huge amount of capital. Today, thanks to the internet, you can start a service-based business with virtually zero capital, using the skills you already possess. A side hustle is your low-risk laboratory for cultivating this entrepreneurial mindset while still having the security of your primary job. Now let's get into the mechanics. There are 2 fundamental types of income streams you can build: active income and passive income. Understanding the difference is absolutely critical. Active income is the type you are most familiar with. It is income for which you directly trade your time and effort. Your 9-to-5 job is active income. If you stop working, the money stops coming in. Most side hustles also start as active income streams. If you do freelance writing, you get paid for the articles you write. If you drive for a ride-sharing service, you get paid for the hours you are behind the wheel. Active income is fantastic. It is the fastest way to generate extra cash flow, and it is the foundation of building wealth. But it has one major limitation: you. There are only so many hours in a day. You can only write so many articles or drive so many miles. Your income is capped by your personal capacity to work. Passive income is the holy grail. It is income that, once a system is set up, continues to flow to you with minimal ongoing effort. It is the art of uncoupling your time from your earnings. Let me be crystal clear. Passive income is not money for nothing. This is a dangerous myth. It is almost always the result of a significant upfront investment of either time or money. You do the work once, and the system you build continues to pay you over and over again. The goal is to build an army of little money-making robots that are out there working for you 24/7. Even when you are on vacation, even when you are sleeping. This is how true wealth is built. The long-term strategy for anyone serious about financial freedom is to use the extra cash flow from your active income streams, both your job and your active side hustles, to build or buy passive income streams. This is the path. So what do these passive income systems look like? The first and most accessible form of passive income is the one we talked about in Chapter 4, investing. When you buy a share of a dividend-paying index fund, you are buying a system. The hundreds of companies in that fund have employees, factories, and products that are working around the clock to generate profits. A portion of those profits is then distributed to you, the owner, in the form of dividends. Your only job was to make the initial investment. The system takes care of the rest. This is the purest form of passive income. The second category of passive income is built on intellectual property. This is where you create something once, a piece of digital content, and you can sell it an infinite number of times with no additional manufacturing cost. Examples include writing an ebook. You invest the time to write and edit it once, and you can sell it for years on platforms like Amazon Kindle. Creating an online course. You film the lessons once and students can buy and learn from it for years to come. You could create stock photography or music, upload it to a marketplace, and get paid a royalty every time someone licenses it. You could create a YouTube channel. You create the videos once, and if they are evergreen, meaning they will be relevant for a long time, they can continue to generate ad revenue for years. This book, when I read it on my YouTube channel, will be an example of creating intellectual property that can generate income long after the initial work is done. Each piece of content you create is like a digital employee you are sending out into the world to work for you. The third category is building business systems that can operate without your direct day-to-day involvement. This is more advanced, but it's important to understand the concept. An example is an e-commerce store that uses a service like Fulfilled by Amazon, FBA. You do the work up front to research a product, find a supplier, and create the online listing. But once it's set up, Amazon handles the storage, packing, shipping, and customer service. Your job is to manage the inventory and marketing, which can often be done in just a few hours a week. Another example is a simple, system-based business like a laundromat or a set of vending machines. These require an upfront capital investment, but they are designed to run with minimal ongoing labor. The ultimate goal for a true entrepreneur is to build a business where their primary job is to work on the system, not in the system. The fourth major category is real estate. A rental property is a classic example of a passive income-generating asset. You make the initial investment of time and money to find and purchase the property. Once you have a good tenant in place, they pay you rent every month, which covers the mortgage expenses and hopefully provides you with a positive cash flow. Yes, it requires management, but this can be systemized and even outsourced to a property management company, making it largely passive. This all might sound overwhelming. The key is to remember the path. Start with active. Build towards passive. Your first goal is not to launch a massive online course or buy a rental property. Your first goal is to make your first dollar outside of your day job, most likely through an active, service-based side hustle. This proves the concept, builds your confidence, and generates the seed capital for your future passive streams. So let's get intensely practical. Here is your 3-step guide to starting your first income stream. Step 1 is to conduct an idea inventory. Just as you audited your expenses, you must now audit your personal assets of skill, passion, and knowledge. Take out your journal and divide a page into 4 columns. In the first column, labeled Skills, write down everything you are good at. This includes your professional skills, writing, coding, project management, public speaking, graphic design, and your personal skills, organizing, cooking, gardening, fixing things, playing an instrument. Do not censor yourself. If you are good at it, write it down. In the second column, labeled Passions, write down the things you genuinely love to do, the hobbies you would do for free. This could be fitness, vintage cars, board games, hiking, or fashion. Your enthusiasm is a valuable asset. In the third column, labeled Knowledge, write down the topics you know a lot about. This could be from your job, your education, or just your own obsessive curiosity. Maybe you're an expert on World War II history, or you know everything there is to know about caring for houseplants. In the fourth column, labeled Problems, write down the small, annoying problems you or people you know complain about. I never have time to walk the dog. My parents don't know how to use their new computer. Our local small businesses have terrible websites. This inventory is your personal goldmine of potential income streams. Step 2 is to choose one of 3 primary pathways to monetize an idea from your inventory. Pathway 1 is selling a service. This is the fastest and lowest risk way to start. You are taking a skill from your first column and offering it to people who need it. The startup cost is virtually zero. You can create a profile on a freelance platform like Upwork, Fiverr, or TopTal. You can leverage your existing network on LinkedIn. You can use a platform like TaskRabbit for local services. If you are a skilled writer, you can be earning money writing blog posts for a company next week. If you are an organized person, you can offer virtual assistant services to busy executives. If you love dogs, you can be a dog walker. Your goal is to get your first paying client as quickly as possible. This validates your skill and puts money in your pocket. Pathway 2 is selling a product. This has a higher potential for scalability, but often involves more upfront work or capital. The products can be physical or digital. A physical product could be something you create yourself, like handmade jewelry or custom furniture, which you can sell on a platform like Etsy. It could also be a product you source from a manufacturer and sell through a platform like Amazon FBA or Shopify. This is called private labeling. A digital product is something you create with your knowledge. This is where your knowledge and passion columns come into play. You could write a short ebook on a beginner's guide to houseplant care. You could create a simple set of digital templates for small business owners on Canva. You could create a meal plan PDF for busy professionals. Digital products are beautiful because once you create them, you can sell them 1,000,000 times over. Pathway 3 is building an audience. This is the long-term game. It involves creating valuable content for free on a platform like a blog, a YouTube channel, a podcast, or an Instagram account. You use your knowledge and passion to attract a loyal following of people who trust you. Once you have built that audience and trust, you can monetize it in several ways. Through advertising, through affiliate marketing, where you recommend other people's products and get a commission, through sponsorships, or by selling your own services or digital products to them. This path takes the most time and consistency, but it can also be the most rewarding and durable. Step 3 is to adopt the minimum viable product, or MVP mindset. This concept comes from the tech startup world, and it is the antidote to perfectionism and fear. The goal of an MVP is to create the simplest possible version of your idea that you can offer to a customer to see if it has value. Do not spend 6 months building a massive 20-module online course. Instead, your MVP could be a single 1-hour one-on-one coaching call on that topic for $50. This allows you to test your idea, get feedback, and make money in 1 week, not 6 months. Do not order 500 units of a product from a supplier in China. Instead, your MVP could be to make 5 of your handmade items and list them on Etsy. Do not try to build the perfect feature-rich website. Instead, create a simple one-page landing page that describes your service. The goal is to get in the game. Make your first dollar. That first dollar is the most important one you will ever earn outside of a job because it will fundamentally change your identity. It proves that you are not just a consumer, you are a creator of value. You are an entrepreneur. The journey to multiple income streams is a marathon, not a sprint. It starts with one small, active step. You use that extra active income to aggressively pay down debt and build up your investments. Then you take the skills and the capital from that first side hustle and you start building your first small passive income stream. Maybe you take the $500 a month you're making from freelance writing and you use it to buy more dividend stocks. Or maybe after a year, you take the $6,000 you've saved and use it as a down payment on a business system or a piece of intellectual property. This is how it's done. It is a slow, methodical process of stacking bricks, one on top of the other, until you have built an impenetrable financial fortress. Your job is no longer your only leg. It is just one part of a diverse and resilient financial ecosystem that you, the architect, have designed. This is the path beyond the 9-to-5. It is the path to true security, freedom, and wealth. Chapter 9. The Real Millionaire Lifestyle. Frugality, not flash. In the imagination of the modern world, the word millionaire conjures a very specific and vivid image. It is an image meticulously crafted by movies, television shows, and social media feeds. It's the sleek, Italian sports car roaring down a coastal highway. It's the sprawling mansion with an infinity pool overlooking a glittering city. It's the designer clothes, the extravagant watches, the exclusive parties on private yachts. This image is built on a foundation of conspicuous consumption. It screams to the world, "Look at me. Look at how much I can afford to spend." For millions of people, this image is the very definition of wealth, and it is, without a doubt, the single greatest lie ever told about what it means to be truly wealthy. This chapter is about dismantling that lie. It is about revealing the quiet, unglamorous, and profoundly powerful truth about how the vast majority of real millionaires actually live. It is about embracing a philosophy that is the polar opposite of flash, the philosophy of stealth wealth, of intentional frugality, and of prioritizing financial independence over social status. This is not about being cheap. It is about being smart. It is about understanding that the game of wealth is not won by having the most impressive toys. It is won by having the most freedom. To understand the core of this chapter, we must first make a clear and permanent distinction between two words that people often use interchangeably: rich and wealthy. They are not the same thing. Being rich is an income statement phenomenon. A person who is rich earns a lot of money. The high-earning doctor, the successful lawyer, the well-paid executive, these people are rich. They have a high cash flow. But this says absolutely nothing about their financial health. As we saw in our story of Dr. Adams and Dr. Brown, it is entirely possible to be rich and at the same time be teetering on the edge of financial ruin. If you earn $500,000 a year, but you spend $510,000 a year to maintain a high-consumption lifestyle, you are not getting wealthier. You are getting poorer. You are a hamster on a golden wheel, running faster and faster just to stay in the same place. This is the trap of the high-income, low-wealth individual. Being wealthy, on the other hand, is a balance sheet phenomenon. It has nothing to do with how much you earn and everything to do with how much you keep. Wealth is measured by your net worth, your assets minus your liabilities. It is the value of your income-producing investments, your businesses, your real estate. Wealth is not the car you drive, it is the stocks you own. Wealth is not the designer suit you wear, it is the rental properties you control. Wealth is the money that is working for you, not the money you are spending to impress others. The quiet schoolteacher who has diligently saved and invested for 40 years and now has a $2 million portfolio is far wealthier than the surgeon who earns $1 million a year but is drowning in mortgage, car, and lifestyle debt. The surgeon might look richer, but the teacher has won the game. The teacher has freedom. This is not just a theory, it is a statistical fact. The landmark book The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas J. Stanley and William D. Danko was a bombshell that shattered the public's perception of wealth. They conducted a massive research project, studying the habits and lifestyles of thousands of American millionaires. And what they found was shocking. The vast majority of these millionaires did not live in Beverly Hills or Park Avenue. They lived in modest middle-class neighborhoods. They did not drive new Cadillacs or Porsches. They drove reliable American-made cars that were several years old. They did not wear $1,000 suits or Rolex watches. They bought their suits off the rack and wore Timex watches. They were not doctors or lawyers with flashy lifestyles. They were often the owners of dull normal businesses, like welding contractors, pest controllers, or mobile home park owners. Their secret was not a high income. Their secret was a high savings rate. They consistently lived on a small fraction of their income and plowed the rest into income-producing assets. They were, in the author's words, prodigious accumulators of wealth. They played great offense by earning a good living, but they played a world-class defense by being intentionally frugal. This concept of stealth wealth is a core tenet of the millionaire mindset. It is the understanding that the most powerful statement you can make with your money is not to show people how much you can spend, but to build a life where you no longer have to think about money at all. It's about valuing your own peace of mind more than the fleeting admiration of strangers. The person who is truly wealthy does not need to prove it to anyone. Their proof is their freedom. The person who is insecure in their financial position often feels a deep-seated need to project an image of success through material possessions. It is a psychological trap, a game you can never win, because there will always be someone with a bigger house, a faster car, or a more expensive watch. The only way to win the status game is to refuse to play. So, how do we apply this philosophy in a world that is constantly screaming at us to spend more? We do it by focusing our defensive efforts on the three areas that have the biggest impact on our finances. The big three of housing, transportation, and food. So many people get bogged down trying to save money by cutting out tiny expenses, like their daily coffee. While that's not a bad thing, it's like trying to bail out a sinking ship with a teaspoon, while there are 3 giant holes in the hull. If you can get your big 3 expenses under control, you will have won the majority of the financial battle. All other savings are just a bonus. Let's start with housing. For most people, this is their single largest monthly expense. The conventional wisdom, often pushed by banks and real estate agents, is to buy the biggest, most expensive house you can possibly qualify for. This is financial suicide. A house is not just a mortgage payment. It is property taxes, which always go up. It is insurance. It is maintenance and unexpected repairs, which can be catastrophically expensive. It is the higher utility bills to heat and cool a larger space. Committing to a massive house payment is like putting a financial ball and chain around your ankle for 30 years. It dramatically reduces your savings rate and locks you into a high-stress lifestyle where you have to keep earning a high income just to stay afloat. The millionaire next door does the opposite. They buy a house that is well below their means. This one decision frees up hundreds or even thousands of dollars every single month that can be deployed into their investment portfolio. Some take it a step further with strategies like house hacking, where they buy a duplex or a triplex, live in one unit, and have the rent from the other units cover their entire mortgage. They are effectively living for free and having their tenants buy them an appreciating asset. The principle is simple. Your goal should be to minimize the amount of your net worth that is tied up in your personal residence and maximize the amount that is invested in income-producing assets. Next, let's talk about transportation, specifically cars. The car payment has become so normalized in our society that it is seen as a standard monthly bill, like electricity or water. It is not. It is a wealth-destroying monster. A new car is one of the worst possible things you can do with your money. The moment you drive it off the lot, it loses a significant portion of its value. This is called depreciation. Over the first 5 years, a new car can lose 60% or more of its original price. It is a guaranteed losing investment. When you finance a new car, you are compounding this loss. You are paying interest on a rapidly depreciating asset. You are also paying for higher insurance and registration fees. The stealth wealth approach is radically different. The goal is to see a car as a tool, not a status symbol. It is a piece of metal that gets you from point A to point B. The millionaire next door buys a reliable, safe 2 to 3-year-old used car. Why? Because the original owner has already absorbed the massive initial depreciation hit. They pay for this car with cash, eliminating interest payments entirely. Let's do some simple math. The average new car payment in America is over $700 a month. If, instead of making that payment, you bought a reliable used car for cash and invested that $700 every month into an S&P 500 index fund, over 30 years, that money could grow to over $1 million. Your choice of car could literally be $1 million decision. Finally, let's look at food. This is the silent killer of budgets, because it's made up of so many small, seemingly insignificant decisions that add up to a fortune over time. The $50 spent on a food delivery app here, the $100 on a nice dinner out there, the daily $10 lunch at the office. The cost is not just in the money, but in the convenience. We have become a society that outsources one of the most basic and rewarding human activities, cooking our own food. The frugal, wealthy individual understands the incredible financial and health benefits of planning and preparing their own meals. This doesn't mean you can never eat out. It means you make it an intentional treat, not a daily habit. By planning your meals for the week, cooking in bulk and packing your lunch for work, you can easily save hundreds of dollars every month. It's not about eating ramen noodles. It's about eating delicious, healthy, home-cooked food for a fraction of the price of restaurant meals. Once you have plugged the holes in the big three, you can apply a more nuanced and joyful approach to the rest of your spending. This is not about deprivation. Frugality is not about saying no to everything. It is about saying a loud, enthusiastic yes to the very few things that truly matter to you, and then being absolutely ruthless about cutting out everything else that doesn't. This is the concept of spending lavishly on what you love and cutting costs mercilessly on what you don't. Take some time to identify the 1 or 2 areas of spending that bring you the most genuine, lasting joy. For one person, it might be international travel. For another, it might be high-end audio equipment. For another, it might be their passion for rock climbing. The stealth wealth philosophy gives you permission to spend extravagantly in these specific areas, guilt-free. But in exchange, you become a brutal minimalist in all the areas you don't care about. If you don't care about fashion, you buy your clothes from a thrift store. If you don't care about having the latest phone, you keep your old one for 5 years. This intentional imbalance is the key to a happy and frugal life. It feels abundant, not restrictive, because every dollar you spend is a conscious vote for something you truly value. Underpinning this entire lifestyle is the mastery of a single psychological skill: delayed gratification. This is the ability to resist the temptation of an immediate, smaller reward in order to receive a larger, more significant reward in the future. It is the mental muscle that allows you to choose financial freedom tomorrow over a new gadget today. Stanford psychologist Walter Mischel famously studied this trait in the 1960s with his marshmallow test. He offered young children a choice. They could have 1 marshmallow right now, or if they could wait for 15 minutes while he left the room, they could have 2 marshmallows later. It was a simple test of willpower. But what was fascinating were the long-term follow-up studies. The children who were able to delay gratification and wait for the second marshmallow went on to have higher test scores, better health outcomes, and were significantly more successful in their careers. They had developed the fundamental skill of prioritizing their future selves. Every single purchase you consider is a marshmallow test. The impulse buy is the 1 marshmallow now. The money invested towards your freedom number is the 2 marshmallows later. You must train yourself to see this choice clearly in the moment. A powerful way to strengthen this muscle is to implement a waiting period for all non-essential purchases. For this chapter, we suggest the 48-hour rule for any purchase over $100. When you feel the urge to buy something you are not allowed to, you must write it down and wait for 48 hours. During this cooling-off period, the emotional, impulsive part of your brain will calm down, and the logical, long-term thinking part of your brain will have a chance to engage. After 2 days, you will often find that the intense desire has completely vanished. You will realize you didn't really need it after all. Another powerful technique is to calculate the life energy cost of a purchase. If you earn $25 an hour after taxes, a new $500 phone is not $500. It is 20 hours of your life. It is half a week of your freedom that you had to trade to acquire that object. Is it worth it? Sometimes it might be. But asking the question fundamentally changes your relationship with spending. Finally, you must be vigilant against the most insidious threat to long-term wealth accumulation: lifestyle inflation. This is the natural tendency to increase your spending as your income increases. You get a raise, so you get a bigger apartment. You get a promotion, so you buy a nicer car. It feels natural. It feels like you've earned it. But if your spending rises at the same rate as your income, you will never actually get ahead. You are just upgrading your golden hamster wheel. The most powerful wealth-building hack in existence is to make a conscious decision to break this cycle. The rule is simple. From this day forward, every time you get a raise, a bonus, or a new higher-paying job, you will pretend it never happened. You will continue to live on your old budget, and you will automate 100% of the increase to be transferred directly to your investment accounts. You will save your raise before you ever have a chance to get used to it. This one discipline, more than almost any other, will put you on the absolute fast track to financial independence. It widens the gap between your earning and spending at an exponential rate, pouring gasoline on the fire of your compounding investments. This is the secret of the wealthy. They don't just build wealth, they accelerate it. The real millionaire lifestyle is a quiet revolution. It is a rebellion against a culture that tells you that your worth is determined by what you own. It is the radical act of choosing freedom over flash, security over status, and a rich life over the appearance of being rich. It is the deep, unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you are the master of your money, not its slave. This is the path. It may not be glamorous. It will not get you featured on a reality television show. But it will lead you to a place of profound peace and power. It will lead you to wealth. Chapter 10. The Ultimate Goal: A Life of Freedom and Purpose. We have arrived at the summit. For the past 9 chapters, we have been engaged in the deeply practical and tactical work of wealth construction. We have been the architects, the engineers, and the builders of our own financial destiny. We have rewired our minds, drawn the blueprints, built the automated machines, and learned to navigate the treacherous psychological terrain. We have assembled the tools, mastered the techniques, and laid the foundation brick by painstaking brick. But now, standing at this high vantage point, we must ask the most important question of all. A question that, if left unanswered, renders this entire enterprise a hollow and meaningless exercise. The question is, why? Why have we done all this? What is the ultimate purpose of this great and challenging work? If you believe the answer is to get a lot of money, then I'm afraid you have missed the entire point. Money is not the destination. Money is merely the vehicle. It is the fuel in the tank, the ship that carries you across the ocean. The destination is something far more profound, far more valuable, and far more human. The destination is a life lived on your own terms. The ultimate goal is freedom. The ultimate prize is purpose. This final chapter is about the destination. It is about what lies on the other side of the balance sheet, beyond the numbers and the net worth statements. It is about the true meaning of a rich life. Let's begin by confronting a paradox that has haunted humanity for centuries. The pursuit of wealth for its own sake is a path to misery. This is not a philosophical platitude. It is a well-documented psychological phenomenon. It is the curse of the hedonic treadmill. The term, coined by psychologists Philip Brickman and Donald Campbell, describes the remarkable tendency of humans to quickly return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative life events. You get a big raise, and for a week, maybe a month, you feel euphoric. But soon, that new income level becomes your new normal. You adapt. The initial joy fades, and you find yourself needing another bigger raise to get the same hit of happiness. You buy a new luxury car, and for a while, you feel a thrill every time you get behind the wheel. But soon, it's just a car. It's the thing that gets you to work in traffic. You become accustomed to it. The treadmill keeps spinning, and you have to keep running faster and faster, acquiring more and more just to feel the same level of satisfaction. Chasing money for the sake of money is the fastest way to chain yourself to this treadmill for life. It is an endless, unwinnable race. The finish line is always moving. When you have $10,000, you think 100,000 will solve all your problems. When you have 100,000, you become convinced that 1 million is the magic number. The millionaire looks at the decamillionaire with envy, who in turn looks at the billionaire and feels inadequate. It is a game designed to make you feel perpetually not enough. The person who accumulates money as a way of keeping score, as a way to prove their worth to the world, is the poorest person of all, regardless of the size of their bank account. They have sacrificed their life, their time, and their peace of mind to accumulate a pile of paper and digital numbers that they are too afraid or too busy to ever truly use. The millionaire mindset understands this trap and sidesteps it entirely. It reframes the entire purpose of wealth. Wealth is not a number to be admired. It is a tool to be used. It is a hammer. You do not fall in love with a hammer. You do not spend your life polishing a hammer and showing it off to your neighbors. You use the hammer to build a house that provides you with shelter, with security, with a place to raise your family and create memories. The house is the goal, not the hammer. Wealth is the hammer. The life you build with it is the house. The ultimate goal is to architect and construct a life of profound and personal richness, and financial resources are simply one of the most powerful tools you have to do so. The question, therefore, is not, how much money do I need to be happy? The question is, what kind of life would bring me the most joy, fulfillment, and peace? And how can I use money as a tool tool to create that life. This shifts the entire focus from a meaningless accumulation of digits to a deeply meaningful process of life design. This brings us to one of the most liberating ideas in this entire book. You do not have to wait until you are a millionaire to start living a rich life. The habits of a rich life can and must be cultivated right now, today, regardless of your current net worth. A rich life is not defined by the price tag of your possessions, but by the quality of your experiences and the abundance of your joy. If you are not capable of finding richness in your life when you have $1,000 in the bank, you will not be able to find it when you have 1 million. You will simply be the same person with more expensive distractions. You will carry your same anxieties, your same insecurities, and your same sense of lack into your new, bigger house. Wealth does not change who you are. It only amplifies it. So let's conduct a rich life audit. I want you to take a moment and think about the times in your life when you have felt truly, deeply, unequivocally rich. Not rich in a monetary sense, but rich in a human sense. What were you doing? Perhaps it was the feeling of the sun on your face during a long walk in a beautiful park, an experience that costs nothing. Perhaps it was a conversation with a dear friend that went late into the night, filled with laughter and vulnerability. Perhaps it was the profound satisfaction of finishing a challenging project at work, a feeling of mastery and competence. Perhaps it was the simple, perfect taste of a home-cooked meal shared with people you love. Perhaps it was getting lost in a great book from the library, transported to another world. I am willing to bet that the majority of your most cherished, richest memories have very little to do with spending large amounts of money. This reveals a powerful truth. A significant portion of a rich life is already available to you, for free. It is a matter of paying attention. It is a matter of being present. It is about cultivating what the author and sociologist Juliet Shaw calls time affluence over material affluence. In our frantic pursuit of material wealth, we have created a society that is desperately time poor. We have more stuff than any generation in human history, but we have less and less time to enjoy it, to connect with each other, and to simply be. The millionaire mindset consciously rejects this trade. It understands that time is the ultimate non-renewable resource. You can always make more money, but you can never make more time. Therefore, the ultimate luxury is not a designer watch. It is control over your own calendar. You can start practicing this today. You can decide to put your phone away for an entire evening and be fully present with your family. You can schedule a do-nothing afternoon on your weekend, where your only goal is to follow your curiosity without a plan. You can use your vacation days, all of them, to truly disconnect and recharge, rather than checking emails from the beach. These are the actions of a person who is truly wealthy in spirit. They are training for the life that their financial wealth will one day fully enable. If you learn to master your time and your attention now, when your financial freedom arrives, you will be ready to use it wisely. If you don't, you will find yourself financially free, but still trapped in the same old habits of distraction and busyness, a condition I call the wealthy prisoner. Now let's explore the destination itself. What does this freedom we speak of actually look like? It is not a vague, fuzzy concept. It can be broken down into 4 distinct and tangible freedoms. Achieving these 4 freedoms is the true scorecard of wealth. The first, and most fundamental, is freedom of time. This is the bedrock upon which all other freedoms are built. Freedom of time means you are the sole and absolute master of your own 24 hours a day. It means you wake up in the morning, not because an alarm clock tells you that you must, but because you are excited to engage with the day. It means your to-do list is replaced by a get-to-do list. You are no longer trading your time for money in a way that is dictated by someone else's agenda. This does not necessarily mean you stop working. Most financially independent people do not spend their days sitting on a beach sipping cocktails. That life becomes boring with surprising speed. What it does mean is that you have the power to choose your work. You can choose to work on projects that align with your deepest passions and curiosities, not just the ones that pay the bills. You can choose to work with people who inspire and energize you, not those you are forced to tolerate. You can choose to work at the pace that suits your natural rhythm, sprinting when you are inspired and resting when you need to recharge without asking for anyone's permission. It is the end of the Sunday night dread. It is the dissolution of the artificial wall between work and life. Your life becomes a single integrated whole, driven by your own internal compass. The second freedom is freedom of location. In a world that is becoming increasingly digital and connected, this freedom has become more accessible and more desirable than ever before. Freedom of location means your ability to earn an income is not tied to a specific geographical point on a map. You have the choice to live where you want to live, not where you have to live for a job. Do you want to live in a bustling city, a quiet mountain town, or a foreign country? Do you want to spend the summers near your family and the winters in a warmer climate? Do you want to travel the world slowly, spending a few months at a time in different cultures? Financial independence, combined with income streams that are not location-dependent, makes this a reality. It decouples your physical life from your economic life, giving you an incredible degree of flexibility and control over your environment. Your home can be a permanent base, or it can be a fluid concept that changes with the seasons of your life. The world becomes your neighborhood. The third freedom is freedom of association. This is a subtle but profoundly important freedom that we touched upon in Chapter 6. It is the ability to consciously and deliberately choose the people you surround yourself with. In a traditional career, you often have little choice in this matter. You are forced to spend a significant portion of your life in close proximity to co-workers, bosses, and clients who may be negative, toxic, or simply misaligned with your own values. This can be an enormous drain on your emotional and mental energy. It forces you to wear a mask, to engage in office politics, to bite your tongue. Financial freedom dissolves these obligations. It gives you the power to walk away from toxic relationships and unhealthy environments, both professional and personal. You can choose to spend your time exclusively with people who lift you up, who challenge you to be better, who share your values and your passions. Your life becomes a curated collection of supportive, inspiring, and authentic relationships. This freedom has a direct and massive impact on your day-to-day happiness and well-being. The fourth, and perhaps the most precious freedom of all, is freedom from worry. This is the deep internal peace of mind that comes from knowing you are financially secure. It is the quiet confidence that comes from having a robust financial fortress that can withstand the inevitable storms of life. A sudden job loss is not a catastrophe. It is an inconvenience. An unexpected medical bill is not a source of panic. It is an expense to be managed. A downturn in the economy is not a reason to lose sleep. It is an opportunity to be patient. This freedom is the absence of that low-grade chronic financial anxiety that hums in the background of so many people's lives. It is the ability to make decisions based on your hopes and dreams, not your fears and insecurities. It is the feeling of being in control of your own ship, knowing you have the resources to navigate through any weather. This internal sense of security is the true unshakable wealth that money, when used wisely, can buy. It is the freedom to be present, to be creative, and to be generous, because your own basic survival needs are no longer a source of concern. Achieving these four freedoms is the real game, but the journey does not end there. In fact, for many, this is where the real journey begins. Once your own cup is full, once your own freedoms are secured, you are presented with a new and wonderful question. What now? With my time, my resources, and my security, how can I make a positive impact on the world beyond myself? This is the transition from success to significance. This is the final and most fulfilling stage of the wealth journey, the pursuit of purpose and legacy. Your legacy is the sum total of the impact you have on the world. It is the echo you leave behind in the lives of others. True wealth extends far beyond your own lifetime. It is about planting trees under whose shade you know you will never sit. This can take many forms. For some, it is philanthropy. This doesn't just mean writing large checks, although that can be a powerful tool for change. It can also mean giving your time, your skills, and your expertise to a cause you deeply care about. It could be mentoring young entrepreneurs, volunteering at a local shelter, or using your business skills to help a non-profit organization become more effective. You have the freedom to become a strategic giver, to use your resources to create a measurable positive change in the world. For others, the legacy is about creation. It is about building something that will outlast you. This could be a business that provides value to its customers and meaningful employment for its staff. It could be a body of creative work, a book, a piece of art, a piece of music that will continue to inspire and entertain people long after you are gone. It could be a beautiful garden, a well-crafted piece of furniture, or a system that solves a problem for others. The act of creation, of bringing something new and valuable into the world, is one of the deepest sources of human fulfillment. And for many, the most important legacy of all is the one they leave with their family and their community. It is about raising children who are kind, resilient, and responsible. It is about being a present and engaged partner, friend, and neighbor. It is about passing on not just your financial wealth, but your wisdom wealth, your values, your lessons, and your principles. Creating a strong, loving, and supportive family unit is a legacy that will ripple through generations. Being a pillar of your local community, someone who contributes to its well-being and its social fabric, is a profound expression of a rich life. To bring this all home, I want you to complete the final and most important action exercise of this book. Find a quiet place where you will not be disturbed for at least 30 minutes. Take out your journal. At the top of the page, write, "My life of freedom." Now I want you to close your eyes and perform the visualization exercise we touched on in Chapter 2, but this time I want you to go deeper. Imagine you have already achieved your freedom number. You have won the financial game. The 4 freedoms, time, location, association, and from worry, are yours. Now design your perfect average week. From the moment you wake up on Monday to the moment you go to sleep on Sunday, what are you doing? Who are you with? Where are you? What are you creating? What problems are you solving? What are you learning? How are you contributing? Do not censor yourself. Be as detailed and as audacious as you can be. This vision is the why that will pull you through every challenge and every obstacle on your journey. This is your personal definition of wealth. This is the house that you are building with the hammer of your financial resources. This vision is your North Star. The journey of building wealth is not a selfish pursuit. It is a noble one. It is the process of taking absolute control of your life, of breaking free from the chains of financial worry, and of creating a life of choice, freedom, and possibility. And once you have secured your own freedom, it is the journey of turning outward and using your resources to leave the world a little better than you found it. This is the ultimate goal. This is the real millionaire lifestyle. It is a life not of conspicuous consumption, but of conscious creation. A life not of status, but of significance. A life not of riches, but of true, deep, and lasting wealth. Conclusion. We have come a long way together on this journey. We began with the simple yet revolutionary idea that wealth is not a matter of luck or circumstance, but a direct result of the way you think. We worked from the inside out, starting with the very foundation of your mindset, clearing away the weeds of scarcity and planting the seeds of abundance. From there, we became the architects of our future, drawing a clear and intentional blueprint with meaningful personal goals. We then became engineers, constructing a powerful automatic wealth machine designed to build our fortune on autopilot, fueled by the unstoppable magic of compounding. We trained as financial psychologists, learning to master our own emotions, to conquer fear, and to transform market volatility from a threat into an opportunity. We became strategic networkers, understanding that our relationships are a powerful asset and that giving value is the surest path to receiving it. We transformed ourselves into lifelong learning machines, relentlessly investing in our greatest asset, our own knowledge. We embraced our inner entrepreneur, moving beyond the single-legged table of a 9-to-5 job to build a resilient and diversified ecosystem of income streams. We redefined the very meaning of a millionaire lifestyle, rejecting the hollow allure of flash and embracing the profound power of stealth wealth and intentional frugality. And finally, we looked beyond the numbers to the ultimate purpose of it all, a life of freedom, purpose, and meaningful contribution. If you have absorbed the lessons within these chapters, you now possess a complete toolkit for financial transformation. You have the mindset, the strategies, and the step-by-step actionable plans, but I must be honest with you. Possessing the toolkit is not enough. A garage full of the finest woodworking tools will never build a beautiful table if the tools are left to gather dust. This book, the knowledge within it, is useless without one final critical ingredient: your committed, consistent action. The sheer volume of information might feel overwhelming, and that is a natural feeling. The temptation can be to try to do everything at once, to get discouraged when you don't see immediate results, and to eventually give up and revert to your old ways. This is the path of failure. I urge you to choose a different path. Do not try to do everything at once. Choose one. Just one single idea from this entire book that resonated with you the most. Perhaps it is the simple act of starting a possibility journal. Perhaps it is automating your first $50 investment. Perhaps it is conducting an audit of your big 3 expenses. Whatever it is, commit to mastering that one single thing. Make it a non-negotiable part of your life. Live with it until it becomes as natural as breathing. And only then, once that one habit is locked in, come back to this book and choose the next one. This is how real, lasting change is made. Not through a single giant leap, but through 1,000 small, consistent steps in the right direction. The gap between where you are today and the life of freedom you envision is not an uncrossable chasm. It is a bridge that you build yourself. One small action, one smart decision, one disciplined day at a time. Remember this: you are far more powerful than you have been led to believe. You are not a victim of the economy, of your boss, or of your circumstances. You are the creator of your financial reality. The principles we have discussed are not complex secrets reserved for a chosen few. They are simple, timeless truths that are available to anyone with the discipline to apply them. The journey will not always be easy. There will be setbacks. There will be moments of doubt. There will be times when you feel like you are not making progress. In those moments, I want you to reconnect with your why. Reread the vision you created for your perfect week. Remember that you are not just working to see a number go up in an account. You are working for your freedom. You are working for your peace of mind. You are working for the ability to show up in the world as the best, most authentic, and most generous version of yourself. This book is not an ending, it is a beginning. It is the starting pistol for the most important and rewarding race you will ever run, the race toward your own potential. You now have the map, you have the vehicle, you have the fuel. The only question that remains is whether you will have the courage to turn the key and start driving. The principles we have explored are the foundation, but the journey of growth and learning is a continuous one. The world is in a constant state of change, and new opportunities and challenges will always arise. This conversation does not have to end here. If you found value in our time together and want to continue exploring the ideas and strategies that lead to a richer, freer life, I invite you to continue this journey with us. Together, we can keep learning, keep growing, and keep building the lives we truly desire.